Chapter 41. Final Farewell. Alyssa lifted her head, tears still streaming, but determination flickering in her amber eyes. If you don't find us, we will find you. That fierce look. She means every word. The day crawled forward with agonizing slowness. Elara arrived first, her usual radiant smile faltering when she noticed the atmosphere. Why does everyone look like someone died? How to explain without explaining. My shop relocates tomorrow. I won't be here anymore. The princess went very still. Her amber eyes darted between Noah and his employees, processing implications with royal efficiency. Relocates where? Somewhere else. Alara's composure cracked slightly. For how long? Unknown. I see. In that case, I'll take all your remaining iced tea. Every bottle. Of course she would. The 12 bottles that lined his shelf disappeared instantly, granting him 120 golden coins and 120 shop points. Don't look at me like that. If this is goodbye, I'm not leaving anything behind. Can I also get the bread? Noah shook his head. There is a customer who always buys the bread for me. I think she will want it. I can't let you take everything, princess. Sorry. Valeria's arrival an hour later triggered the same pattern. One look at the atmosphere, and one explanation about relocation. All the bread. Every loaf. The 12 loaves were sold for a total of 36 golden coins. He didn't sell it for 4 coins because Valeria was very good to him. Good. Her green eyes held fierce protectiveness. Can't let healing bread like this vanish into whatever void you're heading toward. After both sales, his shop points skyrocketed to 960 points, which made him frustrated. Had he made a bigger deal with the princess, he would have made the cut. With his stocks completely gone, Noah simply waited for the time to arrive. Unfortunately for him, he would be teleported before he could make enough to get 1,000. Before she left, Valeria reiterated the same line as Elara. When you return, and you will return, we'll be waiting. Warning. Teleportation commences in 10 minutes. Please prepare for relocation. Noah's stomach twisted into knots. 10 minutes. That's all we have left. Alyssa sat beside Kip on the floor, both clinging to each other like shipwreck survivors. Grix organized cleaning supplies, desperate for some kind of distraction. They're all staying until the end, even knowing it'll hurt more. 5 minutes crawled by in agonizing silence. Every tick felt like a hammer blow against his chest. System warning. 5 minutes remaining. It's time. Noah's voice cracked despite his efforts. You need to go. Alyssa's ears drooped as she rose slowly. Her amber eyes glistened with unshed tears, but determination flickered beneath the grief. We'll find you, she whispered. Kip nodded frantically, small hands clenched into fists. Wherever you go, we'll follow. Even Grix straightened his hunched shoulders. Grix will remember Master Noah always. Don't cry. Don't you dare cry in front of them. They filed out slowly, each backwards glance feeling like a dagger between Noah's ribs. The door chimed one final time as Grix disappeared into the alleyway. Noah was alone. Teleportation in progress. The world dissolved. Outside the abandoned alleyway, 3 figures huddled together in shared misery. Valeria had arrived moments before the deadline. Nothing happened. She raised an eyebrow, checking her pocket watch. I thought his whole shop would vanish. Turns out he's pulling a prank on us. As she opened the door, the sign Idle Store above the door vanished. The door swung open. Nothing. Empty room. Completely empty with nothing inside. No counter. No shelves. No trace that Noah had ever existed in this space. Just bare stone walls and dust motes dancing in fading sunlight. He, actually, vanished. Her words hung in the air like smoke from an extinguished candle. Alyssa's composure finally shattered. Tears streamed down her furry cheeks as the reality struck home. Kip buried his face against his sister's shoulder, his small body shaking with silent sobs. Grix stared at the empty space, his weathered features creased with confusion and loss. He didn't care like the other two. He had also lost his master a few days prior, and now he once again lost another one. Master Noah really gone, he whispered. Valeria's hand dropped from the doorframe. Even her composure cracked slightly at the sight of absolute emptiness where warmth and friendship had flourished. He wasn't lying. Whatever he was, wherever he came from, it was real. The Silver Wolf captain cleared her throat roughly. Come on. Let's get you three settled somewhere safe. The least I can do is honor his last request. They walked away from the empty alley, leaving behind only memories. Noah's surroundings snapped back to awareness with suddenness. Please be a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Please be somewhere I can build a mansion and hoard gold in peace. His eyes opened to chaos through the window. Hundreds of creatures milled through what could only be described as a bustling plaza. But these weren't human shoppers, they were demons. Actual, honest-to-God demons with horns, tails, and skin ranging from deep red to midnight blue. This is not a wasteland. This is very much not a wasteland. A massive demon with ram's horns noticed his shop first. The creature's eyes widened to dinner plate proportions. There is a shop here? I never knew that, he bellowed in a loud voice. The demon closed on his window, only to lock eyes with Noah, before his eyes widened. Human species alert. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Within seconds, Noah's humble bakery was surrounded by curious demons pressing their faces against his two windows. Dozens of eyes, some glowing, some multicolored, all intensely focused on him, created a kaleidoscope of supernatural attention. I wanted isolation. I got the exact opposite. A particularly enterprising demon began rattling his door handle. Human. They know I'm human. In demon territory. This is fine. Everything is fine. More demons joined the crowd. Soon, his shop was surrounded by demons. Noah gulped before consoling himself. Remember, Noah, you're immortal inside the shop. Immortal. They can't actually kill you here. Chapter 42. The Demons. Although the demons could not kill him inside his shop, they definitely made the experience terrifying. A demon with butterfly wings tapped politely on his window. Excuse me, new neighbor. Might we inquire about your business hours? Polite demons? Am I hearing this right? Or did I already go crazy? Noah's carefully planned introduction to a new world, the one where he cautiously explored, maybe met a few scattered survivors, and gradually built his mansion in the apocalypse, crumbled like a house of cards in a hurricane. Instead, he stood in the center of what appeared to be the demon kingdom's busiest marketplace, surrounded by hundreds of supernatural beings who seemed more excited than murderous. Damn it, system. You could have placed me in some abandoned neighborhood in the demon kingdom. You decide to place me in the middle of their busiest marketplace. Host, don't be rude. The relocations are completely randomized. At least they're not trying to eat me. Yet, a small demon child, if such things existed, pressed tiny hands against his door and peered up with enormous purple eyes. Papa, why does the strange creature look so scared? Son, it's not a strange creature. He is called a human. Noah took a deep breath, straightened his shoulders, and prepared to face his new reality. Okay, Noah, you've seen them before, it's not your first time. You can handle a demon customer service. Probably. Maybe. Oh God. What have I gotten myself into? The crowd pressed closer, their chatter filling the air with a symphony of curiosity and excitement. Noah's quiet, isolated post-apocalyptic fantasy had become the exact opposite. He was the star attraction in the demon equivalent of Times Square. Have some courage, Noah. You've faced worse. Have I, though? Have I really? Gathering what remained of his dignity, Noah approached the door. His hand trembled slightly as it reached for the handle. Just breathe. Open the door. Don't die. Simple plan. The door swung open. Immediate silence fell over the crowd like a blanket dropped from the sky. Hundreds of eyes, glowing red, deep purple and gold, fixed on his face with laser-like intensity. Well, this is happening. Hello, everyone. The crowd erupted. He speaks. The human one can speak our language. Mama. It's not just a decoration. Decoration? Really? Wait, the language I just spoke, the words that came out of my mouth. They weren't English. System, what in the world is going on? How am I speaking a different language? Host, the system translates your words to the species you are talking to. Otherwise, how would you be able to sell in the shop? I see. Noah raised his hands for quiet, surprised when the gesture actually worked. The demons fell silent with remarkable discipline. Could someone tell me where I am exactly? A tall demon with elegant, curved horns and deep crimson skin stepped forward. Her face was distinctly humanoid despite the demonic elements. She is beautiful even in an otherworldly way. You're in Sin City Plaza, human. Heart of the Abyssal Kingdom. Abyssal Kingdom. That sounds ominous. And which continent would that be on? The demoness tilted her head, confusion flickering across her face. Continent? We're on Valeria, of course. More accurately, in the Western Territories, beyond the Thornwall Mountains. Valeria, the continent, not the guild captain. Noah's mind raced through geography lessons he'd learned from talking to his customers in Esta. The Western Territories were the lands beyond the mountain range, the demon-controlled regions that bordered the human kingdoms. I'm in the same world, just on the other side of the conflict. So we're still on the same continent as the kingdom of Durenhold? Durenhold, a younger demon with small bat wings perked up. You mean the human lands? Sure, they're just across the mountains. Maybe a week's journey on foot. Quite fast if you take the carriage, perhaps a day or a bit shorter. A week? No, I'm 24 hours away from Esta. Relief and panic mixed in Noah's chest. He was close enough to potentially return, far enough to be in completely foreign territory that no human would possibly visit. Are you from the human kingdom of Durenhold? The horned demoness studied him with obvious curiosity. I'm not from there. Noah immediately denied the connection. I don't want to be eaten alive. I know you have problems with the people of Esta. Why the hell would I say I'm from there? Lola's red eyes shone with amusement. Interesting. You seem to wear their style of clothing and have their general humanness. Shit, the people of Esta think I wear strange clothes, and the demons think I wear Esta's clothes. The crowd murmured among themselves. Noah's palms began sweating as dozens of eyes were fixed on him. I'm from farther away. He gestured vaguely eastward. Much farther. It's technically true. Another world counts as far away. Fascinating. Lola circled him slowly. Her tail, tipped with what looked like an arrowhead, swished hypnotically behind her. So, what do you sell? I see bread and a drink. Noah's jaw tightened. The logical part of his brain screamed to make a profit, but his conscience had other ideas. I can't arm the enemy. What if my bread helps them win the war? What if Alyssa, Elara, Valera, Kip, Grix gets hurt because I made their soldiers stronger? Just regular food, he lied smoothly. Nothing special. Sorry, capitalism. Loyalty wins this round. Lola's amber eyes narrowed fractionally. Her supernatural senses clearly detected deception, but she didn't press immediately. Regular food that appeared suddenly in the middle of our plaza? Shit, this damn transportation of the shop always gets me into trouble. It's impossible to act like a normal shopkeeper. The demoness tilted her head, studying him like a puzzle missing crucial pieces. Around them, the plaza had mostly emptied, but several demons lingered within earshot. How quaint. She knows I'm full of crap. Lola's expression shifted suddenly, concern replacing suspicion. Speaking of food, we've had supply difficulties lately. Attacks on our trade routes. Attacks? This could be useful. Attacks by who? The extremists, of course. Lola's tail lashed with obvious frustration. Who else? Extremists? What extremists? Wait, what extremists? You don't know about the extremists. Oh no, did I just reveal something terrible about myself? Should I? A collective intake of breath rippled through the nearby demons. One elderly demon with twisted horns muttered something that sounded like a prayer. The Crimson Talon extremists. banished from our kingdom a few years ago for preaching demon supremacy and racial purity. Her voice hardened. They've been raiding both demon and human territories ever since. Banished demons attacking both sides? That doesn't match the intelligence from Esta. They believe demons are the superior race, she continued, that all other species should be enslaved or eliminated. Wait, Esta thinks that all demons are attacking them, but it's just this extremist group? Noah's worldview tilted sideways. The propaganda from Esta painted all demons as unified enemies. But looking at the concerned faces around him, shoppers worried about supply shortages, he began to doubt everything he'd been told. These extremists, he said carefully, they're the ones attacking human settlements? Among others. Lola's expression darkened. They raid our outlying villages, too. Equal opportunity terrorists. The demons are victims, too. This was never mentioned in Esta. Chapter 43, Prophet. A younger demon with bat wings stepped forward. They killed my cousin last month. But why would... Noah caught himself before finishing the question. Why would Esta's intelligence be wrong? Unless somebody is profiting from this war. Alara and her upbringing didn't strike me as people who would throw their own kingdom into chaos. The pieces clicked together. Looking at the worried demon faces around him, Noah felt his carefully constructed enemy image crumble. They're not monsters. They're just people with horns and wings. You really didn't know? Lola observed, watching his internal revelation play out. Interesting. Her tail swished thoughtfully. The demons around them murmured among themselves, clearly debating Noah's true origins. But their expressions held curiosity rather than hostility. They're more concerned about my weird ignorance than my potential threat level. Look, Noah said finally, I might have simplified my background a bit, but I'm not here to cause trouble, just trying to make an honest living. Noah's internal debate had reached its conclusion. These demons weren't his enemies. They were potential customers with legitimate grievances against actual terrorists. Time to stop being an idiot and start being a businessman. Are you finally ready to tell us? Lola smirked, her tail swishing behind her like a metronome counting down his resistance. Noah nodded. I sell healing bread and mana enhancement tea. The words came out in a rush. The bread accelerates natural recovery by 30%. The tea increases mana reserves and regeneration by 30% for 10 minutes. There it is. My cards are on the table. Bread costs 5 gold coins. Tea is 11. Slight markup for inflation and distance from Esta. Fair pricing. The plaza erupted. 5 gold coins for magical bread? 11 for tea? Okay, maybe that was too aggressive. Maybe I should have kept it the same, or decreased it a bit. But instead of outrage, Noah heard laughter. 5 gold coins. A ram-horned demon slapped his knee. That's pocket change. He is practically giving it away. What a generous human. Another chimed in. Wait, what? Lola's expression shifted from amused to incredulous. You're seriously charging 5 gold coins for magical healing bread? Did I underprice everything? In demon territory. That's too low. The crowd burst into fresh laughter. Demons began pulling out coin pouches that clinked with suspicious weight. One particularly enthusiastic customer dumped a small mountain of gold coins onto the ground. I'll take 10 loaves. I want all the tea for me. Can I reserve next week's production? Oh no. Noah's face went through several colors as he realized the economic state of this kingdom. In demon territory, gold coins were apparently as common as cobblestones. Inflation is a real pain in the ass. He face-bombed inwardly. I could have charged 50 gold coins, and they'd have thought it was reasonable. But pride and mild embarrassment prevented him from adjusting prices mid-announcement. Plus, these people seemed genuinely excited. I should stick with the quoted prices. I need to build some goodwill. Prices stand as stated, he declared, trying to sound businesslike rather than mortified. Fortunately, the system had refreshed his inventory upon teleportation. 12 golden loaves and 12 glass bottles stood on his shelves. At least I won't disappoint them with low stock immediately. The crowd pressed closer, gold coins appearing from every direction like magic tricks. Noah raised his hands for order. 1 per customer. First day, limited supply. He didn't want a single person to monopolize his entire stock. Mainly because he wanted to retain those customers. Once his automakers were leveled up to level 2, he would have a bigger supply. The demons formed a surprisingly orderly queue, chit-chatting excitedly about magical human stock. This is what customer service should feel like. Lola pushed to the front of the line. A loaf of bread and 1 iced tea, please. I want to experience this island magic firsthand. She placed 16 golden coins on his counter, which Noah pocketed. Daily income stream has been updated. Daily revenue, $1,600. Enjoy, he said, giving her the loaf and tea. Thank you. Lola responded with a seductive smile that made him blink twice before blushing. This demoness is trying to hunt me. For sure. Lola uncorked the bottle slowly as if savoring the moment. Suddenly, a sweet, complex aroma filled the air. It had a hint of peach that transcended into notes of magic and moonlight dancing on invisible strings. Even the smell is impressive, Lola thought. She raised the bottle to her luscious lips and took a careful sip. The effect was immediate. Lola's eyes widened, then slowly drifted closed. A soft sound escaped her lips that made Noah's cheeks burn crimson. Was that a moan? Mm. The sound repeated, longer this time, carrying notes of pure pleasure. Oh God, she's making those sounds in public. Noah's face cycled through multiple shades of red as nearby demons leaned closer, curious about her obvious enjoyment. Lola seemed completely oblivious to her audience, lost in sensory experience. This is mortifying, and somehow also, nope, not going there. Professional thoughts only. This is incredible. Her eyes were still closed in apparent bliss. She took another sip, and yet again another soft moan escaped. She's gonna get me killed by her jealous demon suitors. The flavor is extraordinary, she continued, finally opening her eyes. Like liquid manna. And the energy. I can feel my mana reserves expanding. But more importantly, Lola stepped closer, her voice dropping to a lower tone. The sensation is quite stimulating. Kill me now. Noah's blush deepened to something approaching maroon. It's just tea. She's doing this on purpose. She has to be. The queue behind her shuffled impatiently, but Lola seemed content to savor both the tea and Noah's obvious discomfort. I'll definitely be a regular customer, she purred, taking another deliberately slow sip. This woman is going to be the death of me. Next customer, Noah called desperately. But as Lola stepped aside with that knowing smile, Noah realized his demon territory adventure had just acquired a very distracting complication. Chapter 44, Automaker Level 2. I've sold out everything, so why is she still here? The last demon customer had departed, clutching his precious healing bread like a sacred relic. Noah's shelves stood empty. Success tasted sweet, until he realized the succubus showed no signs of leaving. Lola sat on his counter, her legs swinging like she owned the place, an iced tea bottle still in hand. Her tail swished lazily behind her as she took another deliberately slow sip. Everyone else left. Why is the succubus making herself comfortable? Congratulations on your first day, she purred, her red eyes sparkling with mischief. It was quite the enthusiastic reception. Thanks. I should probably close up shop now. Hint taken? Please say hint taken. Close up. Lola's laugh tinkled like bells. You're quite straightforward, aren't you? Her eyes sparkled. I like that in a man. Oh no. Here we go. She slid off the counter, her bare feet touching the floor. Do you want me to close the windows too? She did not just. Noah's face blazed crimson as he understood what she meant. That's not what I meant. No. Lola's tail curled around her leg with seduction. Pity. I thought human shopkeepers who open shops in the Demon Kingdom were supposed to be adventurous. She's enjoying this way too much. I meant to close the shop. For business. Normal business closing. Normal business. She repeated the phrase like tasting wine. How disappointing. Why does everything she says sound like an invitation to sin? Lola stepped closer, head tilted with mock innocence. Though I suppose we could discuss opening hours instead. She's going to kill me. Death by innuendo. Or perhaps you'd prefer to show me your backroom inventory. Noah backed against his own wall, trapped between stone and succubus. There is no back room. Really? Her eyes widened with theatrical surprise. Just this small space? How intimate. Hee. Her small giggle sent a shiver down his spine like ice water mixed with liquid fire. That sound should come with a warning label. I gotta go. I hope you can leave. Noah's voice cracked worse than a teenage boy asking someone to prom. His face burned with embarrassment that probably glowed visible from space. Lola's amber eyes sparkled with predatory delight. What if I say no? Of course she'd say no. Why would anything be simple? Noah's brain flatlined. System. Can I kick this succubus out of the store? Yes, host. As the shopkeeper, you have the privilege to remove unwanted individuals from your shop. Thank God. I almost thought I was done for. If you say no, I'll have to use force to kick you out. The words tumbled out before he could consider how they sounded. Force? I like that, please do. No, absolutely not. Noah's imagination immediately went places it had no business going. Images flashed through his mind, none of them appropriate for a professional business relationship. If I don't kick her out now, I'm definitely going to sin. System. Kick her out of the store. Acknowledged, host. Lola had been gliding toward him with one delicate finger trailing along his counter. One moment, she was inside his shop, her eyes promising all sorts of trouble. Next, she stood on the plaza cobblestones, blinking in confusion. Huh? What just happened? She touched the doorway of his shop, her fingertips meeting solid resistance. Her expression cycled through confusion, surprise, and finally impressed admiration. He was able to do this to me, despite me being a master mage. A dangerous smile spread across her beautiful face. He really isn't simple. Her mind wandered down decidedly inappropriate paths. The mysterious shopkeeper had just casually overpowered her magical defenses without breaking a sweat. I wonder what other kinds of force he's capable of. Inside the shop, Noah watched her test the barrier with growing relief and terror. Scary woman. Without hesitation, he stepped through the portal back to Earth. His apartment wrapped around him like a safety blanket. Noah collapsed onto his couch, heart hammering against his ribs like a trapped bird. The encounter replayed in his mind. Every look she gave him, every sound she made, every move she made, all replaying in his mind like a tape that never wanted to end. She's going to be there tomorrow, waiting, probably with new ways to torment me. He buried his face in his hands before he slapped his cheeks. She got me acting like a damn kid. I can't be doing this. He immediately tried to distract himself from the succubus that made his life infinitely more troublesome by checking his system notifications. Focus on numbers. Idle Tycoon System. Host. Noah Carter. Age 28. Shops 1. Daily revenue, $1,600. Current assets, $82,800.23. Shop points, 1,200. Attributes, strength, 4, vitality, 4, intelligence, 7, agility, 3. Skills, swordsmanship, level 4, mana control, level 4, cooking, level 2, programming, level 2, finance, level 1, surviving on ramen, level 3. $82,000. Noah stared at the number, blinking rapidly as if it might change. A few weeks ago, he'd been dodging debt collectors and eating ramen for every meal. Now he was officially wealthy, well, more like nouveau riche. I'm officially out of my poor status. After paying off his remaining debts, roughly $20,000 in medical bills and loan shark interest, he'd still have over $60,000. Enough for a car down payment, a decent apartment, and his father's ongoing treatment. The relief hit him like a physical wave. No more choosing between rent and groceries. No more watching his father worry about money while fighting for his life. After years of grinding, I finally made it out. I'm blessed. His shop points had jumped to 1,200, enough to lock his current location for a period longer than 10 days. The Demon Kingdom, with its enthusiastic customers and terrifying succubi, could become his long-time base of operations. System: can I go back to Esta with 1,000 points? Not that I want to leave yet. The profits here are too good to abandon. Negative: host: returning to a previous location requires 2,000 points. Twice as expensive to go back. Makes sense. Let me check the automakers. With the amount of sales I made, Auto Iced Tea should have leveled up to level 2. Chapter 45. Level 2 Auto Iced Tea. Auto Baker. Level 1. Production rate: 1 loaf every 2 hours. Max stock: 12. Progress: 50/60ths. Auto Iced Tea. Level 2. Production rate: 1 iced tea every hour. Max stock: 24. Progress: 4/100. It increased by that much? Noah's eyes widened. The Auto Iced Tea machine had leveled up during today's sales rush. Production rate had quadrupled, from 1 every 4 hours to 1 every hour. The maximum stock had doubled from 12 to 24. 24 iced teas daily. That's 264 gold coins if I sell them all. In demon territory, where gold coins were common as dirt, that represented serious wealth. And his bread maker was close to leveling up too. The system scales with success. More sales, better production, higher profits, more shop points, and finally more products to increase my daily revenue, so I can officially become idle. He scrolled through the upgrade details. Noah leaned back into his couch, overwhelmed by the sheer scope of opportunity. The Demon Kingdom wasn't just profitable, it was potentially life-changing wealth. But even as excitement built in his chest, Noah couldn't shake thoughts of Esta. Alyssa and Kip were out there somewhere, probably training with Valeria and Princess Alera. Grix had found a new home. His friends had moved on without him. They promised to find me. But what if they can't? What if I stay here so long that they forget? Tomorrow would bring new customers, new challenges, and undoubtedly more encounters with a certain succubus who seemed determined to complicate his life. Speaking of which, Noah's cheeks reddened as memories of Lola's teasing returned. Ring ring. The shrill sound of his phone jolted him from his dangerous daydreaming. Cough. Regaining his composure, he cursed under his breath before answering. That damn succubus is going to be the end of me. I have to put an end to her teasing the next time I see her. He cleared his throat and picked up the call. Hello, Aunt May? Hello, sweetheart. How have you been? Don't tell me you've been sulking after what happened with that girl. Aunt May. Why would I be sulking? She steamrolled ahead without waiting for a response, which made him sigh with a wry smile. Listen, even though you're approaching your 30s with no job, it's fine. I know you will succeed in life. If not with money, then with the purity of your heart that a woman will fall in love with. Noah's mouth twitched. I'm not a monk, Auntie. You have such a kind soul, Noah. Any girl would be lucky to have you, even if you can't afford to take her anywhere fancy. Damn it, Auntie. Why are you constantly stabbing me with your words? You are absolutely ruthless. Thanks, Auntie. That girl didn't deserve you anyway. Shallow, materialistic. You need someone who appreciates your inner qualities. Speaking of which, Aunt May continued, you haven't eaten a proper meal in so long, have you? Are you still living on those terrible noodles? I heard from my friends in the group chat that they cause worms inside your stomach. I'm telling you, Noah, be careful. Of course, it's always the Auntie's group chat that has the most diabolical news. I'm doing fine with food. Nonsense. Come over for lunch. I'm making your favorite dumplings. And maybe, her voice turned conspiratorial, I can introduce you to Mrs. Chen's niece. She's visiting from Vancouver. No. I mean Auntie about the dating thing. She's very sweet. A nurse, very caring. Perfect for someone with your gentle nature. Plus, Aunt May's voice brightened. She loves cooking. Imagine. Home-cooked meals every day. I already have employees who cook for me. What do you say? 1 o'clock. He sighed before glancing at the time on his phone. All right, I'll come for lunch. Wonderful. See you soon. Noah stepped out of his apartment building after taking a quick shower, feeling the crisp fabric of clothes he'd bought months ago but never had occasion to wear. The dress shirt fit better than he remembered. The convenience store's fluorescent lights buzzed overhead as he selected a premium chocolate box. Belgium imported, gold foil wrapper and everything fancy. Aunt May deserves a good gift, even if her dating choices aren't particularly good. This time, he waited inside the store until his phone buzzed with the taxi notification. No more street corner encounters with loan sharks. Those days were officially behind him. The ride passed in comfortable silence, city blocks blurring past as Noah mentally prepared for his aunt's interrogation. 30 minutes had passed by. Thank you. Noah handed the driver cash and stepped onto the street's concrete. Aunt May's house stood exactly as he remembered. Tidy garden, painted fence, the faint aroma of home cooking drifting through windows. Knock knock. Inside the Aunt May's house. Ethan, open the door. Your cousin Noah is here. Aunt May's voice carried from the kitchen, accompanied by the sizzle of something delicious. Ethan, who had been playing his game, took one headphone out with an expression of annoyance on his face. The game was his only escape recently, and his mom had just made him die with her shouting. What? He shouted back from his room. I said open the door. All right. Ethan responded before pulling his headphones away from his head and leaving the room. His footsteps thumped down the stairs with obvious reluctance. The door swung open to reveal Ethan. 16 now, all awkward and barely contained frustration. Gaming headphones hung around his neck like modern jewelry. What's up, Ethan? Noah smiled. Chocolate box extended like a peace offering. Yo! Ethan stepped aside with a look of indifference on his face, but something flickered behind his eyes. A thing that hadn't been there during Noah's last visit. Kid looks tired. More than normal teenager tired. Noah slipped off his shoes, studying his cousin. Not my place to pry. Not yet. Noah! Welcome, welcome. Aunt May's head popped around the kitchen doorframe, flour dusting her cheek like war paint. Her smile blazed with genuine warmth. Go sit in the living room. 5 more minutes and lunch is ready. The house smelled like heaven on earth. Garlic, ginger, that indefinable comfort of food made with love. Noah settled onto the couch, chocolate box beside him. Ethan had already disappeared back upstairs, the soft click of a closing door marking his retreat. Noah stared at the stairs for a second before pulling out his phone. The kitchen sounds continued. Chopping, stirring, and sizzling. Noah leaned back into the sofa. Chapter 46. Dinner with Aunt May's family. Soon the food was ready. Seeing Noah sitting alone in the living room, Aunt May's expression darkened like storm clouds gathering. Ah, this boy. How could he be so rude? It's always those stupid games he's playing. Her voice carried up the stairs with a mother's fury. He didn't even bother entertaining you while the food was getting ready. Here comes the lecture. Poor Ethan. Ethan, get down here. The thunderous call could have woken the dead. Noah winced sympathetically. He remembered being on the receiving end of similar summons from his deceased mother. Heavy footsteps thumped down the stairs as Ethan appeared, resignation written across his face like a death sentence. You didn't even. Where's Uncle Smith? Noah interrupted smoothly, deflecting Aunt May's brewing storm. Has he not finished work yet? Sorry, Auntie, but I gotta save him from your fury. Aunt May paused mid-lecture. He has. He should be arriving soon. The front door swung open with perfect timing. Honey, I'm home. Uncle Smith's voice sounded through the house. He stepped inside, suit jacket draped over his arm like a conquering businessman. Middle-aged but still trim, Uncle Smith had somehow avoided the desk job belly that plagued most men his age. His smile lit up the entire house. Noah. His eyes widened with genuine delight. It's been far too long. How have you been, son? The older man crossed the room in 3 strides, pulling Noah into a bear hug, almost crushing him. Look at you. Smith held Noah at arm's length, studying him like a proud father. You're looking good, really good. I heard about your startup, it must be treating you well. Haha, sort of. Business picked up recently, Noah replied, sticking to his prepared script. Finally seeing some returns. That's what I like to hear. Smith clapped his shoulder with enthusiasm. Persistence pays off. I always knew you had it in you. Ethan rolled his eyes from the corner, but even he seemed to relax slightly with his father's arrival. Uncle Smith had that effect, the natural charisma that could defuse any situation. Wash up, dear. Aunt May called from the kitchen. Lunch is being put on the table. Yes, ma'am. Smith winked at Noah conspiratorially. Never keep the chef waiting. First rule of married life. Some things never change. Thank God. The family dynamic shifted as Uncle Smith disappeared to wash his hands. Aunt May's anger evaporated, replaced by wry smile. Even Ethan seemed less defensive with his father home. Come on, everyone. Aunt May emerged from the kitchen carrying a steaming platter. Food's ready. Noah followed them toward the dining room, chocolate box in hand, ready for whatever combination of interrogation and comfort awaited. The dining room filled with the comfortable chaos of family mealtime. Steam rose from dumplings arranged like small treasures on porcelain plates. The aroma of garlic and ginger created an atmosphere of pure comfort. Uncle Smith loosened his tie with relief. You wouldn't believe the day I've had. Here comes the office drama. Uncle Smith's stories are legendary. That new director, what's his name, honey? Richardson. He glanced at Aunt May, who nodded while serving rice. Complete and utter jackass. Aunt May swatted his arm playfully. Language at the dinner table. Sorry, dear. Complete and utter. Anyways. Noah bit back a laugh as Smith continued, warming to his subject. This morning, Richardson calls an emergency meeting. Emergency. Like the building was on fire. He gestured dramatically with his fork. Turns out, he wants to discuss the optimal placement of office plants for feng shui energy flow. You've got to be kidding. 23 people. In a conference room. For 2 hours. About plants. He believes in those Chinese powers, qi or whatever you call them. Ethan's lips twitched despite his apparent determination to remain depressed. Uncle Smith noticed immediately, like a comedian sensing his audience. But wait, it gets better. Smith leaned forward conspiratorially. Richardson brings in this feng shui consultant. Some guy in some cosplay clothing. The ones you find monks in movies wearing, who spent 40 minutes explaining why the ficus was blocking our prosperity channels. This can't be real. So what did you do? Noah asked, genuinely curious. Smith's grin turned wicked. I suggested we fire the ficus and promote the rubber plant. It had better leadership qualities. The table erupted. Aunt May snorted into her soup. Even the sullen Ethan cracked a small smile. Uncle Smith strikes again. You didn't actually say that, Aunt May gasped between laughs. Oh, I absolutely did. In front of the entire team. Smith's eyes twinkled with mischief. Richardson's face turned 3 shades of purple. The man's fearless, or completely insane. Dad? Ethan spoke for the first time since sitting down. You're going to get fired. Probably, Smith agreed playfully. But at least I'll go down fighting the good fight against stupidity. The laughter continued as Smith regaled them with more tales of corporate absurdity. Richardson's attempts to implement synergistic mindfulness protocols. The mandatory meditation sessions in the supply closet. The team-building exercise involving interpretive dance. How does he survive in that environment? But watching Uncle Smith's storytelling, Noah understood. The man had found the secret to navigating corporate madness. It was by treat it like a comedy show rather than taking it seriously. Maybe there's a lesson there for me. Perhaps I should do that in my shop. I take things too seriously sometimes. Speaking of work, Smith turned his attention to Noah. How's your business venture going? May mentioned you had some big developments. I knew this question was bound to be asked. Well, I guess it's time for my carefully crafted explanation. Noah nodded, preparing to navigate between truth and believability. Actually, things have been going really well lately. Found a new market that's been very receptive to my services. That's fantastic. Smith raised his water glass in salute. The conversation flowed naturally from their business philosophy, market strategies, the importance of treating customers well. Uncle Smith dispensed wisdom with the confidence of someone who'd survived decades in corporate trenches. The comfortable atmosphere shifted as Aunt May's attention turned to Ethan. How are your exams going, sweetheart? They're fine. Just fine. May pressed, her motherly concern creeping into her voice. Your teachers said you've been. I said they're fine. Ethan's voice sharpened like a blade. Uncle Smith cleared his throat. Ethan, May, we should. What about that math test you were worried about? May continued, oblivious to the growing tension. And your English project? The teacher mentioned. Creak. Ethan's chair scraped against the floor as he stood abruptly. Can everyone just stop? His voice cracked with barely contained emotion. I'm handling it, okay? There's the breaking point. The room fell silent. Ethan's hands trembled slightly as he stared at his plate, walls crashing down around whatever he'd been hiding. I need some time. He bolted from the room. Footsteps thundered up the stairs, followed by the sharp slam of a door. The kid is drowning in something. Aunt May stared after him, confusion and hurt written across her features. Uncle Smith reached for her hand with comfort. Noah set down his chopsticks carefully. Uncle Smith, Aunt May, mind if I go talk to him? The couple exchanged glances before turning to Noah. Chapter 47. Gaming. Knock knock. Noah had already secured permission from Uncle Smith and Aunt May. The hallway felt gloomier up here, weighted with teenage angst and unspoken problems. No response. He knocked once more. Hearing no denial of entry, Noah opened the door slowly and walked in to find Ethan hunched over his desk, headphones on, playing what looked like a military shooter. The rapid-fire clicks of the controller filled the space between explosive sound effects that blasted out of his headphones. Kid's in his element. I better not interrupt mid-game. Noah waited patiently, watching Ethan kill his opponents in the battlefield with surprising skill. The concentration on his cousin's face was absolute. This wasn't just entertainment, it was a way of escaping. After several minutes, Ethan's character finally died. He pulled off his headphones with a frustrated sigh. Can I play with you? Noah asked quietly. Ethan looked at him for a second, surprise flickering across his face. Without a word, he handed over a second controller, scooting his chair to make room. Gaming isn't my strong suit, but maybe the system will help. Noah settled beside his cousin, controller feeling foreign in his hands. The game loaded, some tactical shooter with more buttons than seemed necessary. Don't expect much, Noah warned. Ethan's lips twitched. Maybe I should have said that before the game started. The first 5 minutes were a massacre. Noah's character died repeatedly, shot by enemies, falling off cliffs, accidentally grenading himself. His kill-to-death ratio resembled a tragedy. This is embarrassing. I'm getting destroyed in front of my own cousin. But gradually something changed. His reflexes sharpened. Movements became more fluid. The controller stopped feeling like an alien item. Then the notification flashed across his retina. You have gained the skill. Gaming, LVL.1. Nice. The change was immediate. Noah's next life lasted significantly longer, his aim improving with each engagement. He actually managed to eliminate an enemy without immediately dying afterward. Ha! Ethan said, glancing at Noah's screen. You're getting better. I've been hiding my true skill. Watch me now. They played in comfortable silence, the tension from downstairs melting away in digital gunfire and respawn timers. For the first time since arriving, Ethan seemed genuinely relaxed. Whatever's eating at him, this helps. Sometimes the best conversations happen without talking. Noah's improved performance drew increasingly impressed looks from his cousin. Gaming level 1 might not make him a professional, but it was enough to hold his own. Time to find out what's really wrong, Noah thought as their characters respawned for another round. The gaming session had worked its magic. Ethan's shoulders had relaxed. The tight lines around his eyes had softened. Bro, what's wrong? Tell me. The brotherly tone felt natural, unforced. Noah had learned from watching Uncle Smith. Sometimes family needed directness wrapped in warmth. Ethan's fingers stilled on the controller. His jaw worked silently, wrestling with words that clearly wanted to stay buried. It's nothing. Try again. We aren't that far apart in age, you know. Also, you don't have to worry about your parents finding out. I promise I won't tell them. The teenager's facade cracked. Pain leaked through like water through a dam. Her name was Amy, he said finally. We'd been together for 3 weeks. 3 weeks, and I thought. His voice caught. Noah waited, understanding that some stories needed space to breathe. There's this guy at school, Jason Mitchell. His dad is a rich man in the city. Ethan's knuckles whitened around the controller. Guy drives a Merc to school. 16 years old with a Merc. Rich kid syndrome. I remember those types. Jason's the school playboy. When he gets bored, he moves to the next girl and leaves wreckage behind. Ethan's voice hardened with every word. Everyone knows his pattern, but girls still line up anyway. Money talks, especially to teenagers. Last Friday, Amy texted saying she had some family dinner, and she couldn't hang out on our planned date. Haha. Ethan's laugh carried no humor. So I'm scrolling out Instagram that night, and there's Jason's story. Fancy restaurant downtown. And a girl. And the designer bag he'd bought her that afternoon was on the table. Naturally, you might think, how did I know it was Amy, if her face wasn't fully showing in the picture? Well, it was her hand. Her hand has a birthmark that I know well. $200 bag. That's all it took. She looked so happy, Ethan whispered. Happier than she ever looked with me. That smile looked ecstatic. Noah felt his cousin's pain like a physical touch. That special kind of betrayal that came from discovering you'd been replaced by a price tag. The bag cost $200. I saw the receipt in his story. He was bragging about it. $200. And she threw away 3 weeks like it meant nothing. 3 weeks feels like forever at 16. Ethan's breathing grew ragged. She doesn't even know I found out. Still texts me like nothing happened. Like I'm just some backup option while she plays princess with Money Boy. The teenager's composure finally shattered. Tears fell freely now, carrying days of suppressed humiliation and rage. I'm such an idiot. How could I compete with that? I work weekends at the grocery store for minimum wage. He probably spends more on lunch than I make in a day. And there's the real wound. Not just betrayal, inadequacy. Noah's expression changed. The sympathetic cousin facade melted away, replaced by something more sneaky. A smirk played at the corners of his mouth. So what do you want to do? Nothing. Ethan wiped his eyes roughly. I can't do anything. He's rich, I'm broke. End of the story. No, I mean in your heart. What do you really want to do? Something flickered in Ethan's eyes, a spark of anger that had been smoldering beneath the hurt. I want to slap them both in the face, he said quietly. Then louder. I want to make her regret cheating on me. I want to make her come to me thinking that everything was fine before I dump her in front of the whole class. Damn, so much emotion. My cousin's a little edgelord. Huh? Noah's smirk intensified. All right. Do you have her on your social media still? Ethan nodded, gritting his teeth. I still haven't broken up with her officially. She doesn't know that I found out about her cheating from Jason's story. Perfect. Noah stood, energy crackling around him like hidden electricity. Now get ready. I want to take you somewhere. Chapter 48. Spoiling Ethan. Noah headed downstairs as his cousin got changed. He walked up to his auntie and Uncle Smith and asked, "Can I go out with Ethan for a walk? Spend some time together, he wants some fresh air." His auntie nodded. "Sure, sweetheart." Uncle Smith also nodded. "Thank you, Noah. I appreciate it." Noah smiled warmly. "Don't worry about it, Uncle. Ethan is my little brother." After Ethan got dressed, Noah took an Uber with him and headed to the mall. Noah watched his cousin's face crumble as they approached the Bitten Banana store. The flagship location gleamed with polished glass and chrome, displaying the latest smartphones like precious jewels. Noah's plan was simple. He wanted to buy himself and Ethan the newest phones that just dropped, and he wanted him to flex on his ex online. But fate had different plans. Through the store's massive windows, Ethan suddenly froze. His face went pale as marble, eyes fixed on something inside that made his breathing shallow. "Is that her?" Noah followed his cousin's gaze. A group of teenagers clustered around the display models. 6 girls, 1 boy. The boy was tall and confident. He had an expensive haircut, and he held court like a king among his subjects. And there, laughing at something he'd said, stood a petite brunette who kept glancing at him with obvious adoration. "Yes." Ethan's voice came out strangled. "Amy. And the infamous Jason." Noah studied the scene with predatory focus. The girl, Amy, maintained careful distance from Jason in front of the group, but her body language screamed attraction. The way she angled toward him, the secret smiles, the casual touches disguised as friendly gestures. Playing innocent while cheating. Classic. "All right, perfect. Let's go in." "Noah, I can't. Trust me." They pushed through the glass doors. The store's ambient lighting cast everything in a premium glow. Jason spotted them first. His smile was razor-sharp, the expression of a predator who'd found new prey wandering into his territory. "Yo, Ethan. What's up?" He approached with confidence, designer sneakers silent on polished floors. "What a coincidence. I was hanging out with Amy and the others together." "Coincidence, my ass. You are clearly looking for trouble, little brat. But don't worry, I read enough novels to handle third-rate villains like you." The group followed Jason like satellites orbiting their sun. Amy's eyes widened slightly when she saw Ethan after peeking across Jason's back, surprise flickering across her face before being replaced by manufactured innocence. "Ethan. Hi." Her voice carried forced brightness. "I didn't expect to see you here." "I bet you didn't." Ethan stood frozen, clearly fighting between flight and confrontation. Amy stepped closer, playing the role of devoted girlfriend with Oscar-worthy performance. "I was just telling everyone about that movie we watched last week." Ethan turned away from her mid-sentence, cutting her off. The dismissal was so complete, so unexpected, that Amy's mouth hung open in shock. "Good man. Don't give her any attention." Noah had been observing from the side, but now stepped forward with perfect timing. His voice carried across the store with perfect projection. "Young master, which color of the new Banana 16 Pro Max would you prefer?" The effect was immediate and devastating. Ethan's eyes widened ever so slightly. Even he hadn't expected this plot twist. The girl group erupted in barely contained whispers. "Did you hear that? Young master. Ethan is a young master? Is he rich?" Hook, line, and sinker. Jason's confident smile wavered. His eyes darted between Noah and Ethan, recalculating social dynamics in real time. Amy stared at her supposed boyfriend like seeing him for the first time. The casual dismissal suddenly took on new meaning. What if Ethan had been the one with money all along? Noah continued his performance with professional-grade acting. "The platinum finish arrived this morning. Shall I have them prepare the full package? Including the new headphones?" "Young Master Ethan?" One of the girls whispered, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Like, actual young master?" The question hung in the air like smoke from an explosion. every eye in the group fixed on Ethan with laser intensity. Ethan's throat worked for a moment. Then, as if stepping into a role he'd always known, he straightened his shoulders. Yes, order the full package for me. Noah nodded with deference. Of course, young master. The group's collective intake of breath was audible. Even Jason's confident mask slipped for a heartbeat. Noah raised his hand, and a sales assistant walked to them instantly, the kind of service that money-trained people to expect. How may I help you today, sir? 2 Banana 16 Pro Max units. Top spec. And... Noah paused theatrically. The young master mentioned wanting the new AirPods Max as well. Go big or go home. I have enough money anyways. God blessed me, so I should bless the family around me. The assistant's eyes lit up like Christmas morning. Excellent choice. The platinum finish just arrived this morning. Amy pressed closer to the group, suddenly fascinated by every word. The other girls leaned in like spectators at a gladiator match. Let me calculate that for you. The assistant's fingers danced across his tablet. 3 Banana 16 Pro Max at $1,199 each. That's $3,597. The AirPods Max at $549. Your total comes to $4,146. There goes $4,000. That's 40 golden coins. Close to 4 iced teas sold. The number hit the group like a physical blow. One girl actually gasped. Another's phone slipped from suddenly nerveless fingers. Jason's face went through several colors. For $1,000. He'd saved for 2 months just to buy his own phone. People thought he was rich because of his Merc. But they were all too young to understand that his car, despite looking new, was quite old with a very high mileage on it. Hence why he got it for way cheaper than it was. It was also a relatively old model, but he added some screens to make it look new. Noah pulled out his credit card. The assistant accepted it with a nod. Thank you, sir. The card reader beeped once, twice. Transaction approved. Even Ethan's jaw dropped. His cousin had just casually spent more money than most families saw in a month just to make him feel better. The card disappeared back into Noah's wallet like it belonged there. It actually went through. Noah really has that kind of money now? Ethan thought, feeling guilty. Amy's face had gone completely white. Her eyes darted between Ethan and the receipt like she was watching her entire worldview crumble in real time. Holy! One of the girls breathed. Ethan, you're actually loaded. Jason's mouth opened and closed like a beached fish. His Merc suddenly seemed less impressive when facing someone who bought phones like groceries. The assistant returned with 3 pristine boxes and a shopping bag worth more than some people's rent. Thank you for your business, young master. Please don't hesitate to call if you need anything else. Ethan accepted the items with newfound confidence. Ethan, Amy's voice cracked slightly. I had no idea your family was so successful. There's a lot you don't know about me. Ethan's voice carried steel now. The group stared in stunned silence as the young master they'd never noticed prepared to leave. Noah's performance had transformed their social hierarchy in minutes. Sometimes the best revenge is success, especially when it's this expensive. Ethan, wait, Amy said. Chapter 49. Face slapping Amy. Ethan, wait! The group parted like the Red Sea as she rushed after him. Her designer shoes, probably another gift from Jason, clicked against the floor. Here comes the crocodile tears. Ethan paused at the store entrance. The exit stood there in front of him, like salvation. But something in Amy's voice made him hesitate. Don't turn around. Keep walking. Don't give her the chance, Ethan. But 16-year-old hearts rarely listen to logic. Amy caught up. Why are you being so cold to me? Her fingers found his free hand, intertwining with intimacy. Did I do something wrong? The touch. She knows exactly what that does to me. Ethan's resolve wavered like a candle in the wind. The warmth of her skin, the familiar scent of her perfume, the way she looked at him with those wide, innocent eyes, it all crashed over him in waves. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe Jason really is just a friend. Maybe, I've been texting you all week, she continued, voice soft as silk. You barely responded. And now you're acting like I'm a stranger. Her thumb traced gentle circles across his knuckles. The same gesture that used to make his heart race during their 3 perfect weeks together. She's good. Really good. Ethan's mouth opened, an apology forming on his lips. The expensive shopping bags suddenly felt heavy with guilt rather than triumph. Amy, Noah's elbow found his ribs. A subtle nudge, barely perceptible, but enough to shatter the spell that Amy had cast on him. Right? Remember why we're here. I've been busy, Ethan said finally, his voice steadier than he felt. Busy with what? Amy stepped closer, closing the distance between them. Your family business that you never told me about? Do you not take me seriously? There it is. The real question. How much money does have? Noah thought with a wry smile. The girl was a very good gold digger, despite her young age. Among other things. Ethan gently extracted his hand from hers. Important things. Amy's perfect mask slipped for just a moment. She's not asking because she missed me. She's asking because she smells money. Maybe we could talk? Just the 2 of us? Like we used to? The group watched from inside the store, faces pressed against the glass like spectators at a zoo. Jason's expression had shifted from smug confidence to genuine concern. His territory is being threatened. Ethan had somehow managed to steal her from him. This had never happened to him before. Once he stole a girl, she would stay with him until he dumped her. I don't think that's a good idea, Ethan said quietly. Why not? Amy's voice rose slightly. Ethan, we're good together. We've always been good together. Noah almost laughed at her absurdity. Since when did 3 weeks count as always? Have we, though? Amy's eyes widened, sensing danger in waters that had seemed so safe moments before. What do you mean? She frowned slightly. Ethan looked at her. Really looked. For the first time since discovering her betrayal. She's performing. I mean, maybe we want different things, he said finally. Different things? She laughed ironically between her words. Like what? Ethan hefted the shopping bags, feeling their weight like armor against every doubt he had about returning to her. Like loyalty. Bullseye. Amy's face went pale. The word hit her like a physical blow, carrying hidden meanings she couldn't deflect or deny. Loyalty? Her voice came out strangled. What are you talking about? She knows. She knows exactly what I'm talking about. Enjoy your dinner last Friday, Ethan said quietly. I heard the restaurant was expensive. Checkmate. The color drained from Amy's face completely. Her mouth opened and closed soundlessly, caught between denial and confession. Inside the store, whispers erupted like wildfire. Even from this distance, the group could sense blood in the water. Ethan, I can explain. No need. I hope you and Jason are very happy together. There. I said it. There is no going back now. Amy's carefully constructed world collapsed in real time. The secret she'd thought safely hidden lay exposed. It's not what you think. It's exactly what I think. Ethan turned toward the exit. Goodbye, Amy. As they left, Noah glanced from the corner of his eye and caught the aftermath through the store windows. Amy stood frozen for a heartbeat. Then desperation kicked in. She spun toward Jason, reaching for his arm with the same innocent gesture she'd used on Ethan moments before. Round 2. Let's see how the playboy handles damaged goods. Jason's reaction was immediate. He stepped back, shaking his head with visible disgust. His lips moved in words Noah couldn't hear, but the body language spoke volumes. Nobody likes a double-crosser. Even other cheaters have standards. Amy's face crumpled as Jason walked away, leaving her alone in the center of their friend group. The girls whispered among themselves, phones already out to document the social carnage. From queen to pariah in under 10 minutes. New record. Outside the mall, Ethan walked in silence before he finally broke it. Thank you, cousin. I appreciate this a lot. His voice carried gratitude mixed with something else. Relief, maybe. Kids finally standing up straight. About time. They reached the taxi that Noah had ordered. Ethan paused beside the passenger door. So, when do we return these? He pointed at the bags awkwardly. I mean, the receipt's probably still good for exchanges, right? Return them? Oh, sweet summer child. Noah laughed. Rich, genuine amusement that made several passing shoppers turn and stare. Return them. He wiped his eyes, still chuckling. Ethan, that phone is yours. The teenager's face cycled through confusion, disbelief, and finally shock. Mine? But that's so much money. Noah pulled out one of the phone boxes, pressing it into Ethan's trembling hands. Here, take it. That's a gift. You can't claim to have bought these, then show up to school without one, right? This is insane, Ethan whispered. You can't just buy me $1,000 phone. I just did. Noah's grin could have powered the entire mall. Ethan stared at the box like it might explode. But why? Because watching that was worth every penny. Because seeing you find your spine was priceless. Because that's what family does, Noah said simply. We show up when it matters. Ethan's grip tightened on the phone box. The young master has officially been born. Hello? Sorry to break your moment, but we are causing traffic. Can you get in already? The taxi driver peeked through the rolled window. Chapter 50, Ancient Prophecy. After dropping Ethan at his place, Noah visited his dad at the hospital before the visiting time ended. Back in his apartment, Noah looked around his modest kitchen after rolling his sleeves up. I gotta cook for myself. The good days of Alyssa cooking for me are finished now. The memory hit harder than expected. Alyssa's gentle hands preparing meals, Kip's eager chatter, even Grix's cleaning. Noah pulled ingredients from his well-stocked refrigerator, actual food, not just ramen and energy drinks. His level 2 cooking skill had improved the way he prepared food. He was much better than before. At least I can feed myself properly now. The sizzle of meat hitting hot oil filled the silence. Steam carried the aroma of garlic and thyme through his small space, making it feel more like home than it had in months. His phone buzzed. A text from Ethan. Thank you again. You changed my life today. He had exchanged numbers with his younger cousin, Ethan. Noah gave him a quick reply before he plated his meal. This meal is so good. As Noah leisurely ate his food and watched his favorite show, something was happening in Sin City. The ancient prophecy. Lola's fingers traced the faded parchment, candlelight dancing across words, written in blood and starlight centuries ago. Her beautiful, ruby eyes reflected the flickering flame as she whispered the ancient verse. When the rain grows weak and torn, and exile's children cry forlorn, a merchant shall from distance come, where gold flows free as morning sun. In hands that never knew the crown, he'll bear the gifts to pull us down, or raise us high to rightful throne. The lost one's blood shall recognize the bearer's truth beneath disguise, and kingdoms 3 shall bend the knee. When prophecy sets bloodline free. When prophecy sets bloodline free. Lola repeated the words that burned like acid in her throat. 300 years of hiding, of pretending to be just another succubus in Sin City's sprawling plaza. 3 centuries of watching usurpers rule what should have been hers by birthright. And then he appears, a mysterious shopkeeper with impossible items that I've never seen or tasted before. Lola's tail curled around her bare ankle as she remembered yesterday's encounter. The way he'd deflected her charm. The way his bread had made her manna sing. The way he'd somehow ejected her from his shop with magic she couldn't identify. A merchant from distance. Check. As for the other conditions, I still need some more time before I can be certain. The prophecy had seemed like wishful thinking for so long. A fairy tale to comfort the last of the Lileen's bloodline during endless nights of exile. But what if it's real? What if he's really the one? Thunder rumbled outside her modest room, shaking dust from ancient rafters. Sin City never slept, never rested, never acknowledged the royal blood that once ruled these very streets. Tomorrow I'll test him some more. See if the bearer truly stands before prophecy's gate. Her reflection caught in the window's dark glass. Beautiful, dangerous, and alone. the last princess of a fallen kingdom, reduced to curious observer of her own potential salvation or damnation. The prophecy works both ways. The candle guttered in a sudden draft, plunging the room into darkness. But Lola's eyes glowed softly in the black, cat-like and predatory. Time to discover if that shopkeeper is my kingdom's savior, or its final destroyer. Outside, Sin City's red lights painted the night in blood-red promises. Somewhere in another world, a dimensional shopkeeper slept peacefully, unaware that he'd just become the centerpiece of a 300-year-old prophecy. The next day arrived. Noah started his day with a beautiful notification flashing across his retina, something that he was never going to get tired of. My daily revenue. Daily revenue of $1,600 has been successfully added to your assets. Getting his dose of dopamine from the notification, Noah got up from bed to start his day. Inside his store, Noah opened the doors without hesitation. Gone were the nervous glances and cautious preparations. He'd woken early for his dimensional 9-to-5 job, ready to conquer another day of shopkeeping. Time to make some money, baby. Fresh inventory lined the shelves like golden treasures. 12 loaves of healing bread and 24 glass bottles of mana-enhancing iced tea. It's finally starting to look like a real business instead of a desperate startup. Noah's entrepreneurial instincts had been working overtime. After having done some research by browsing some forums and asking questions, Noah had made up his mind. He was going to increase the price of his good. The demons of Sin City had shown their hand yesterday. Gold coins meant nothing to them. His plan was simple. Yesterday's prices had been first-day prices, which meant they were a limited-time event. Today would reveal his true business model. Sorry, folks, the introductory sale just ended. System, can you suggest me optimal pricing that maximizes profit while maintaining sales volume? High enough for serious margins, reasonable enough to clear inventory. Shop points are equally as important, if not more important than money currently. Recommended pricing analysis complete. Iced tea, 20 gold coins. Bread, 10 gold coins. This pricing ensures sustained high-volume sales while maximizing profit margins. Double the bread, nearly double the tea. Perfect. If I could make those sales, my daily revenue will practically double. 20 gold coins per tea meant 480 gold coins daily if he sold out. 10 per bread brought another 120 gold coins for today, before his autobaker leveled up, increasing his production and stock rate. 600 gold coins today and more tomorrow. But if I could sell today's stock, I would have made $60,000. I'm making 5 diffits per day. His old self would have fainted at those numbers. His new self began calculating monthly projections and expansion possibilities. The Sin City Plaza had begun to stir with life outside his windows. Early morning demons went about their daily routines, unaware that their favorite new shop had just doubled its prices overnight. Noah straightened his shoulders, adjusted his products, and prepared to test the true depths of demonic purchasing power. Chapter 51, Viscount Vex. Noah arranged his newly priced inventory on the shelf, each product positioned for maximum visual impact. The morning light streaming through his windows caught the glass bottles perfectly, casting rainbow patterns across the shop's stone walls. Let's see how the market responds to the new prices. The first customer arrived precisely as the plaza's morning bell chimed, a figure that made Noah do a double take. Is that supposed to be intimidating? A demon swept through his doorway with menace, a black cape billowing behind him like something from a gothic romance novel. Dark horns curved elegantly from his temples, and his crimson skin held an aristocratic pallor. Definitely trying for the scary Lord of Darkness vibe. But I must say he does look quite wealthy. But the effect was somewhat undermined by the delicate flower tucked behind one ear and the faint scent of jasmine that followed in his wake. Human. The demon's voice boomed with authority. I am Viscount Vex, Lord of the Eastern Gardens, commander of... His dramatic proclamation cut off as his eyes landed on the new price tags. And there goes the scary act. 10 gold coins for bread? Vex's intimidating mask slipped entirely. I've heard that it was 5. Supply and demand, my dramatically inclined friend. Premium pricing for premium products, Noah replied smoothly. Market adjustment based on demonstrated value. Besides, the first day had special pricing. Now we are back on board. Vex's face scrunched into something resembling a pout. But I need the bread. Desperately. Desperately? For flower garden fertilizer? His clawed hands twisted together with obvious anxiety. My precious is dying, he whispered, the admission carrying a tone that made Noah's entrepreneurial instincts pause. Precious? Please tell me he's not talking about what I think he's talking about. You're precious. Vex glanced around the empty shop, then leaned forward conspiratorially. My Venus Demonicas. She's been my companion for 67 years. Venus Demonicas. That doesn't sound like any flower I know. Perhaps his wife? She usually eats raw meat, but she's been refusing food for weeks, getting weaker by the day. Vex's voice cracked with genuine emotion. The healers say there's nothing they can do. Noah studied the demon's face, recognizing the desperate love of someone watching a cherished companion fade away. The same expression he'd seen in mirrors during his father's worst days. 67 years. That's longer than most people live on Earth. How did you hear about my bread helping with that? Vex's cheeks darkened to deeper crimson. Word of mouth. The flower behind his ear trembled slightly as he shifted his body from one foot to the other. Noah studied the demon's expression, recognizing the particular look of desperation that came from watching something precious slip away despite having wealth and status. He had seen many people in the hospital, despite having money, unable to save their loved ones. Whatever Precious is, she means everything to him. 1 loaf, Vex said finally. Noah nodded before retrieving a golden brown loaf from his shelf. Vex's relief was immediate and overwhelming. His shoulders sagged as if a crushing weight had suddenly lifted. What remained was simply a being terrified of losing something irreplaceable. The transaction was completed with care. Vex handled the wrapped bread like it contained liquid hope, his clawed fingers gentle despite their intimidating appearance. Thank you. You cannot imagine what this means. Actually, I think I can. Will this truly help her? I have no idea what her actually is, but the system hasn't failed me yet. The bread enhances natural healing processes and should provide significant improvement for most conditions. Technically true, even if I don't know what we're treating. Vex clutched the package like a sacred relic, then did something that made Noah's world tilt sideways. He reached up and gently plucked the delicate flower from behind his ear. Wait, what? Is he planning to propose to me or what? There, my darling Precious. Vex cooed in a voice softer than silk. Papa has medicine for you. Papa? He's talking to the flower on his ear. This demon is crazy. Noah watched in stunned silence as Vex carefully broke off a small piece of healing bread. The flower, which Noah had assumed was mere decoration, suddenly revealed itself to be very much alive. Tiny, needle-sharp teeth gleamed around what Noah had mistaken for petals. The entire bloom twisted toward the bread with obvious hunger, small vines extending like grasping fingers. Oh my God, the flower is alive, like actually alive. So this is the notorious Venus Demonicas, and here I was initially thinking it was his wife or something. That's it, Precious, Vex whispered as the carnivorous bloom latched onto the bread fragment. Eat up. Get strong for Papa. The flower's petals, which had been wilted and dull, began to flush with vibrant color. Deep purple bloomed across its surface like spilt wine, while its vines grew more energetic. It's actually working. On a plant. A tiny, terrifying plant. But more shocking than the healing was the flower's obvious personality. It nuzzled against Vex's fingers with something resembling affection, tiny teeth clicking in what might have been contentment. She's responding. Vex's voice cracked with emotion as his precious pet perked up, her head turning to scan the small shop. Look at that alertness. That beautiful aggression. Beautiful aggression. Only in demon territory would that be a selling point to a flower. Watching Vex's joy felt universal. Love was love even when it involved tiny plant monsters. "I need more," Vex declared, euphoric that his precious was getting better. "Whatever you have." "She's improving so rapidly." And we're back to the upselling conversation. "One per customer per day," Noah replied firmly. "House policy." "Well, my house policy. For now, at least. If business goes down, I can always write a new house police. Can't have people hoarding my inventory." Vex's face cycled through shock and disappointment. "Perhaps a special accommodation? I could offer you one of my prized specimens. A nightshade lotus. Extremely rare, beautiful purple blooms." Chapter 52. Viscount Vex. 2. "I could offer you one of my prized specimens. A nightshade lotus. Extremely rare. It has beautiful purple blooms that—" "What would I do with it?" Noah interrupted, imagining his apartment overrun by the tiny plant monster. "Well, it's quite beautiful when it blooms." "Does it eat meat?" Vex paused mid-pitch. "Only small animals. Rabbits, cats, the occasional small fingers if they're not careful." "No thanks." "Yeah, I'll pass on acquiring a pet that views me as a potential snack." "What would I possibly want it for? To eat me?" "No thanks." The Viscount's shoulders slumped in defeat. His grand bribery scheme had crumbled against Noah's complete lack of interest in acquiring a deadly flora. "Sorry, Vex. I prefer my plants to be decorative and non-carnivorous." But as Vex stood there, deflated, Noah's entrepreneurial instincts kicked in. The demon clearly had money and motivation to feed his little flower. He fit the classic premium customer profile. "Have you considered the tea?" Noah gestured toward the glass bottles. "It increases the mana regeneration and reserves for 10 minutes, and it also tastes amazing according to all my customers. It will complement the bread's effects." Vex's eyes widened as if Noah had revealed the secrets of the universe. The Venus demonic perked up too, her tiny head swiveling toward the bottles with obvious interest. "Even this demonic plant wants the peach iced tea. Is wanted in all worlds, haha." It was clear that peach iced tea was one of Noah's favorite drinks. "Enhanced mana regeneration? 10 minutes per bottle," Noah explained, lifting one bottle to catch the light. Vex didn't hesitate. 20 gold coins were placed on his table. "That's why I love rich customers. They don't hesitate, they just buy." "Will this truly help her?" "Well, it depends. Like I said, the iced tea is soothing to the throat and heart. It has a very cool sensation, and it mainly increases your mana. Perhaps, combined with the bread's effects, it might provide some slight improvement." Vex accepted the glass bottle before popping it open. Clink. Then Vex carefully tilted it toward his precious. Her petals flared wide, tiny teeth chattering with excitement. She practically vibrated with anticipation as the peach iced tea approached. The moment the tea touched her delicate mouth, Precious began to shake. Not with weakness, but with pure, unbridled joy. Her entire bloom quivered as mana coursed through her tiny system. The plant is having some kind of spasm. Color flooded back into her petals like sunrise breaking over mountains, and her tiny vines reached out to embrace Vex's finger with obvious affection. "Magnificent!" Vex breathed, tears of joy streaming down his crimson cheeks. She hasn't been this excited in months. It turns out that watching a grown demon Viscount cry over his plant companion is unexpectedly quite touching. Precious finished the tea and immediately began exploring her renewed vitality. She snapped playfully at Vex's other hand, clearly playing with him. "She's trying to hunt again," Vex sobbed with happiness. "Look at that killing instinct. So beautiful. Only demons would find homicidal plants beautiful. But honestly, she does look kind of adorable." After Vex departed with his revitalized plant companion, Noah finally had a moment to process the morning's strange success. The system notification flashed across his retina. "Your idle income has been updated. Daily revenue, $3,000. $3,000 daily. If I sat at home doing nothing but binge-watching my favorite show, I would still be making $90,000 a month. His bread had locked in at 10 gold coins, tea at 20. Combined, they granted him a total of 30 golden coins a day idly. Before he could fully appreciate his financial progress, a familiar silhouette appeared at his doorway. Noah's heart rate spiked immediately upon realizing who it was. The succubus, Lola. She stood just outside his threshold, her ruby eyes glinting with amusement. Her curves were accentuated by form-fitting clothing that seemed designed to short-circuit any man's rational thoughts. Her dark black hair was especially beautiful under the sun's rays, creating a halo effect that made her look like sin incarnate. Too beautiful, dangerously beautiful. Noah immediately averted his gaze, studying his inventory with sudden fascination. Anything to avoid those hypnotic eyes and the trouble they promised. Don't look directly at the succubus. Basic survival instinct. I can't fall for her tricks again. Lola's soft laughter drifted through the open doorway like honey laced with poison. Trying to ignore me, mysterious man? Mysterious man. She still doesn't know my name. What's your name? I feel rude. I should have asked for your name yesterday, when we were so close to each other. Her voice was naturally seductive without trying, and with trying, it made her double the trouble. The demons in the plaza turned around to take a closer look at the man who had caught the succubus's attention. Although Lola was a succubus, she had never done such things to a demon before, much less a human. Noah continued organizing his shelves, hyper-aware of her presence but refusing to engage. Keep busy. Don't make eye contact. Don't fall for whatever game she's playing. I tried to enter, but something's blocking me. What kind of magic did you use? I like it. It's quite aggressive. Her voice dropped to a sultry whisper that seemed to caress the air itself. Could you please let me in? Damn this woman. The last sentence carried enough seductive power to make grown demons weep. Even with his back turned, Noah felt the pull of her charisma like gravity made of temptation. No, I'm keeping you outside for longer. Consider it punishment for yesterday's performance. He thought. Despite that, he felt worried. The succubus couldn't enter his store. This might be a problem. System, why can't she enter? Is the ban permanent? I can't lose a rich customer to petty revenge. That's $3,000 in potential sales. The succubus Lola is unable to enter because you expelled her from the store. The shop maintains a passive security feature preventing re-entry of ejected individuals. However, you retain authority to grant access privileges. Chapter 53 Lola, Level 2 Auto. So I control the customer list. It's quite a useful feature for dealing with problem customers. Noah weighed his options. His business sense demanded him to allow profitable customers inside. But his personal survival instincts suggested keeping the dangerous succubi at safe distances. But watching Lola's expression through his peripheral vision, Noah found unexpected satisfaction in having leverage over her. For now, let her wait. A little humility never hurt anyone. The morning rush hit like a tidal wave. Demons flooded his shop with unprecedented enthusiasm, word having spread through Sin City's gossip networks overnight. Viscount Vec's dramatic recovery testimonial had apparently gotten him some more customers than Noah anticipated. That Viscount is something else. Customer after customer streamed through his doors, gold coins flowing like water from an endless spring. Aristocratic demons, working-class demons with calloused hands, even a few demons who looked like they'd stepped out of academic libraries. Noah's convenience store had become their attraction site, where they get their good groceries. Through it all, Lola remained stationed outside his shop like a beautiful, frustrated sentinel. Her ruby eyes tracked every transaction with growing irritation, watching as all the stock was being depleted at an alarming rate. Good. That's what you deserve. You are not the only one who can tease little succubus. The sales mounted. 20 gold coins per tea bottle, 10 per bread loaf. Each transaction adding to Noah's growing fortune while Lola's pout deepened. 1 iced tea, please. 2 bread loaves for my family. The whole shelf. Money's not a problem. Sorry, 1 item per customer. Noah rejected. The final customer was an elderly demon with some cracked horns. He completed his purchase before leaving the store. 23 bottles of iced tea and 11 loaves of bread. Gone. Sold out before noon. 570 gold coins. In one morning, Noah's hands trembled as he counted the last payment. The numbers blurred together in his mind, too large to process immediately. I made $57,000. In a single day. How much is that in a month? Too much to count. He collapsed onto his stool, overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of his success. The system notification blazed across his retina like digital fireworks. Host: Noah Carter. Age 28. Shops 1. Daily revenue $3,000. Current assets $140,220.64. Shop points 1,560. Attributes: Strength 4///Vitality 4///Intelligence 7///Agility 3. Skills: Swordsmanship Level 4, Mana Control Level 4, Cooking Level 2, Programming Level 2, Finance Level 1, Surviving on Ramen Level 3, Gaming Level 1. $140,000. I have more money than some small companies. Outside, Lola's voice drifted through the open doorway. She'd overheard enough customer interactions to piece together his identity. Noah, let me in. I promise you won't regret it. Promise, right? Like I'd trust a succubus's promises. What if you eat me before I can have a chance to kick you out? Who is going to return my first-time cards? Huh? The way she said his name made him shudder. Each syllable dripped with seduction, designed to bypass his defenses. She is definitely staying out there. Noah focused on his system interface, using numbers and logic to shield himself against her seductive assault. Time to check the automakers. Auto iced tea. Level 2. Production rate 1 iced tea every hour. Max stock 24. Progress 28/100. Auto baker. Level 2. Production rate 2 loaves every hour. Max stock 24. Progress 2 out of 100. Both machines hit level 2. Finally, the iced tea maker had jumped to 28% completion toward level 3. At this rate, for more days would unlock the next tier of production capabilities. Better efficiency, higher output, more money. But the auto baker's transformation impressed him more as it had leveled up. Level 2 had doubled his maximum stock while quadrupling production speed. It was the same rate of progression as the auto iced tea. 2 loaves every hour meant 48 pieces daily instead of 12. But unfortunately, his max stock was only 24, which didn't help. But at least if he kept selling them, he wouldn't have to worry about max stock. Well, I suppose I can eat some myself now. It's better than going to waste. Combined output would reach 42 items daily once both machines hit full capacity. At his current prices, that represented 720 gold coins, at least $72,000 in daily sales potential. That's nearly $500,000 per week, from 2 products only. What if I can add more products when I level up the shop to level 2? I can't wait. The conditions to level up his store to level 2 were 5,000 shop points and leveling up his 2 automakers to level 2. He had already completed the second condition, which meant he had 1 condition left to complete. 5,000 shop points. I'm still quite far from it. I only have 1,560 currently. Noah, please. I want to taste that liquid again. It was so soothing, refreshing. I'm a loyal customer. I just want to buy your delicious tea again. Noah finally responded. No. But why? She pouted, her eyes glistening as if hurt, before continuing. I've been thinking about that tea all night. The way it made me feel. So warm, so energized. I need more. Everything she says sounds like innuendo. Just let me in, Noah. Let me taste your magic again. Noah's cheeks burned despite his best efforts to remain professional. The woman could make ordering coffee sound like a sin. I won't let you in. There's nothing to sell anyway. Lola's pout deepened, transforming her beautiful features into something that could break hearts across 3 kingdoms. Humph. Fine. But at least for next time. The succubus remained stationed outside his threshold like a gorgeous, determined siege engine. Her tail swished with barely contained frustration, but her posture suggested she'd wait all day if necessary. She is very persistent. I'll give her that. Time passed and Lola still waited outside. Okay, I kind of feel bad now. Chapter 54. Checking out the Demon Kingdom. Her performance was flawless, the perfect blend of seduction and innocence that probably worked on 99% of the male population. Noah weighed his options. Lola would definitely know Sin City better than him. And if he was going to build a shop here, local knowledge was invaluable. Plus, keeping her occupied means she can't cause trouble elsewhere. If you take me on a tour around the city, he said finally, I suppose I can let you in later. Lola's face erupted into pure radiance. Her smile could have toppled kingdoms. Luckily, only Noah saw it. That reaction seems excessive for a simple tour arrangement. Yes, yes. She nodded with the enthusiasm of someone who just won the lottery. I'll make sure I take very good care of you. Her ruby eyes sparkled with mischief. Noah stepped through his shop's door, feeling the protective barrier release him into Sin City's chaotic embrace. Lola immediately linked her arm through his, immediately upon Noah's arrival. Noah didn't have the chance to stop her before she started guiding him through the city. Welcome to your first real glimpse of Sin City. I promise you'll see things no ordinary tourist ever experiences. That's what I'm afraid of. They emerged onto a broad boulevard lined with architectural marvels. Gothic buildings twisted skyward alongside glass domes that pulsed with inner light. Market stalls selling everything from enchanted weapons to beast cores. The demons aren't quite different from the people of Esta in terms of goods sold and such. That tower there, Lola pointed with her free hand toward a large building, houses our temporal studies department. They've been trying to perfect time magic for 400 years. Time magic? Any success? Noah asked, genuinely curious despite his wariness. Lola's laugh tinkled like silver bells. Nope. They continued deeper into the city's heart, where the architecture grew more ambitious and the magical energy so thick Noah could taste it. His mana control level had reached 4, so he was able to sense mana around him much better than ever before. Demons of every description went about their daily business. Some humanoid with elegant horns and tails, others more exotic with multiple arms. Like walking through someone's fever dream of paradise and perdition combined. Oh, look! Lola tugged his arm toward a massive structure dominating the eastern skyline. The Demon Academy. You simply must see this. Demon education. This should be interesting. The academy sprawled across several city blocks, its architecture a blend of imposing fortress and elegant university. What caught Noah's attention was the sheer scale. This made Harvard look like a rural schoolhouse. They take education seriously here. What do they study? Noah asked, craning his neck to take in the impossibly tall central spire. Everything, Lola replied with obvious pride. Combat magic and all kinds of demon inheritance, such as seduction and such. It really depends on what kind of demon you are and your aspirations are. Seduction techniques. Of course, that's a formal curriculum. Students moved between buildings in organized groups, their ages ranging from what looked like teenagers to young adults. Some flew on leathery wings, while others walked. Flying students. That's cool. The entrance requirements are quite rigorous, Lola continued. Most applicants spend their holidays preparing, though I suspect someone with your unique talents might find admission quite easy. A group of student demons practicing combat magic in the academy's courtyard caught Noah's attention. Flames danced between their fingers as they sparred with elegant precision, their movements more like deadly ballet than violence. They are powerful enough to make fighting look like art. Impressive, isn't it? Lola stepped closer, making his heart beat a tad bit faster. Though I've always found private tutoring more effective than classroom instruction. Do they teach stuff other than magic? Noah deflected. Yes, They teach demons how to become adults. She winked. Okay. That just sounds wrong on so many levels. But I'm not going to give you the pleasure of me asking. He knew her tricks by now. She just wanted to seduce him into asking, and once he asked, she would tease him some more. And this, Lola announced as they approached a bridge spanning a river of red liquid, is the Crown Bridge. Notice how the architecture reflects our kingdom's true heritage. Is that blood? The bridge itself was a masterwork of demonic engineering, black stone inlaid with precious metals. But what caught Noah's attention were the statues lining both sides. Who are these statues for? He asked curiously, although he had a hunch. To have a statue meant you were either a hero or someone with high status. Royal bloodlines. And in a voice that Noah couldn't hear, she whispered, the true rulers of Sin City. One statue in particular drew Noah's gaze, a female figure with elegant horns and a tail that seemed to move despite being carved from stone. The resemblance it had to the succubus next to him was quite overwhelming. Coincidence? She's beautiful, he observed carefully. Lola's grip on his arm tightened almost imperceptibly. Yes, but I'm quite beautiful myself, no? She smiled. Noah ignored her question and continued walking through the demon kingdom. Enjoying the tour? Lola asked. More than I expected. Less than I probably should. It's quite nice around here. I've never seen something like it. Noah's honest response drew a satisfied smile from the succubus. Perfect. Lola's eyes lit up with a mischievous shine. Then you'll love where we're going next. That tone suggests trouble. Why do I keep following it? She led him away from the main thoroughfares, past districts that grew progressively quieter. We're leaving the city. Where are we going? Noah frowned, his survival instincts finally kicking in. Following a succubus into the wilderness sounds like trouble. Noah. You'll see. She took his hand without warning, her fingers warm and unsurprisingly gentle. The path wound upward through rolling hills dotted with strange, luminescent flowers. Everything felt peaceful in a way that surprised him. Unlike the human kingdom, there wasn't a large number of fortifications or guards, and there was certainly no signs of the constant warfare that plagued the human kingdoms. Where are all the defenses? Do the demons not attack this place? Chapter 55, Freedom. Why are there no extremist demons around here? Aren't they meant to be attacking both the humans and the demons alike? I heard that they attack the human kingdom constantly. So shouldn't there be some kind of attacks here? Lola raised an eyebrow. Why are you asking? Do you want them to attack us? And no, I was just asking. Esta lives in constant fear. But this place feels safe. Lola's smile turned knowing. Well, regarding your question, the answer is quite simple. It's because they're too weak compared to us. Unlike humans, demons understand their own weaknesses. The extremists resort to attacking defenseless villages or setting ambushes. They wouldn't dare approach Sin City directly. That makes sense, I guess. I see. The path that Lola led him through crested a steep hill, leaving Noah slightly breathless from the climb. But when he reached the summit, his breathing stopped entirely. Not from exertion, but from wonder. Before them stretched the most beautiful natural vista he'd ever witnessed. A vast sea extended to the horizon, its surface so crystal clear it reflected the sky like a mirror. The water seemed to glow with light, shifting between deep sapphire and ethereal silver. This place looked so gorgeous. Water doesn't look like that. Large trees framed the view, their branches reaching toward clouds that drifted lazily overhead. Wildflowers carpeted the hillside in a variety of colors. Blues that had no name, purples that defied description. The air itself felt clean, purified, like breathing distilled starlight. Wow, so beautiful. Lola moved to stand beside him, her earlier playfulness no longer there, as a serious expression plastered her face. She gazed out over the sea with an expression Noah couldn't quite read. Longing mixed with sorrow? Hope tempered by loss? He wasn't sure, but he could tell that it was something serious. Do you know what this sea reminds me of? She smiled, although it felt forced this time. He shook his head.
No.
Freedom. The word came out as barely a whisper, carried away by the gentle breeze that stirred her dark black hair. Freedom. From what? Lola's usual seductive acting had slipped, replaced by something that Noah didn't expect to see from her. Perhaps this place means something to her. Noah found himself studying her side profile. The elegant curve of her horns, the way afternoon light caught her face, the surprising vulnerability in her ruby eyes as she stared out over endless water. Who are you really, Lola? The sea stretched towards infinity. For a moment, Noah understood why someone might associate this view with freedom. The sea was magnificent and expansive, flowing freely with no restriction. His thoughts were interrupted by the birds in the distance that traced lazy circles against the clouds. This place is perfect. Thank you, he said quietly, for showing me this, and for dropping the seductive act. Lola turned toward him, her usual smile returning but softer now. Look out! The warning exploded from her lips as crimson light erupted around them. Noah didn't have the time to do anything, confusion freezing his limbs. His reflexes didn't help either, being too slow to process the danger hurtling toward his head. What? A massive fireball carved through the air where he'd been sitting milliseconds before. The projectile crashed against Lola's erected barrier, the red flames battling the crimson barrier in a shower of sparks that painted the hillside in hellish light. The protective shield held for 3 seconds before the fireball dissipated entirely. What is going on? Noah scrambled to his feet, his eyes darting across the landscape, looking for their attackers. Are we being attacked? Why? Lola's transformation was instantaneous and terrifying. The joking succubus no longer had a gentle smile on her face. Her ruby eyes blazed with fury, like she wanted to rip the attackers into pieces. Her tail lashed behind her as she scanned the treeline. We are being attacked by extremists. We're unlucky to encounter them, especially this powerful group. Noah's blood turned to ice water in his veins. His mind immediately reached for his escape route, the one advantage that made every danger survivable, the system. System, immediately teleport me out of here. I want to go back to the real world. The demons can solve their issues among themselves. Sorry, host, but you are only allowed to do that inside the shop. Damn it, system. You should have told me such an important fact before. You never asked. He cursed inwardly before he focused on the danger at hand. He didn't bother trying to argue with the system, as he knew it well enough to know that it was futile. Powerful. Do you mean that you can't deal with them? 3 figures appeared from the treeline. Their crimson robes billowed in the wind that touched nothing else. Noah could feel the mana around them being extremely dense. Together, they seemed to rival the mana around Lola. Even at this distance, Noah could feel their power pressing against his consciousness. I can handle them. Whilst I'm a master mage, there are 3 adept mages. I can't hold back against them, otherwise, it will be troublesome. Which means, Noah gulped. Which means my magic will be explosive. I won't be able to protect you during the fight. Her words felt like the death penalty wrapping around his neck. Before Noah could think, the extremists began their advance. Power crackled between their fingers as they prepared spells that could level buildings, topple mountains, and kill him within seconds. Noah's mouth went as dry as desert sand. He didn't want to die because the penalty of dying in this world was overwhelming. It was the penalty of insane suffering. He would feel the pain of death nearly 3 times over. I'm sorry, human, Lola whispered, her magical energy beginning to coalesce around her like a storm. Noah's eyebrows rose as he looked at the succubus next to him. The look on her face, the tone of her voice, she meant every word. Is this still the same succubus that is always trying to seduce me? Chapter 56. Weak. The vulnerability in her ruby eyes caught him completely off guard. Gone was the playful predator who'd tormented him with innuendo. In her place stood someone who feared for his safety. She actually cares. About me, a human she barely knows. Before he could process this revelation further, the lead extremist's voice boomed across the hillside. Look at this disgusting sight. The demon's crimson robes flapped dramatically as he gestured with his staff. A master-level succubus consorting with human filth. Brother Kazric speaks truth. The second extremist spat into the grass. These damn humans think they can steal our women now. First our lands, now our females. Steal your women? I'm just here for a tour. Noah opened his mouth to protest his innocence, but the third extremist cut him off. A succubus at that. His voice cracked slightly. The shame brings dishonor to our entire race. Oh, come on. I literally just met her yesterday. Kill the human. Kazric raised his staff, mana gathering around the crystal tip. Show this traitor what happens when superior demon blood mingles with inferior species. Superior? Inferior? These guys have serious brain issues. Lola's magic erupted like a volcano, her crimson energy forming defensive barriers around them both. Stay behind me, Noah. The first spell, a lance of hot fire, screamed through the air toward Noah's head. Lola's barrier deflected it, but barely. The impact sent shockwaves through the ground. That would have turned my skull into charcoal. Pathetic human. The second extremist began chanting, preparing for another attack. You corrupt everything you touch. Another fireball. This one came from an angle Lola wasn't expecting. She twisted, throwing up a hasty shield, but it wouldn't be enough. Oh shit. Noah dove sideways, hitting the grass hard as superheated air singed his hair. The spell exploded against the hillside, leaving a crater where his torso had been. Noah! Lola's voice carried some panic. She spun toward him, momentarily leaving her flank exposed. The third extremist seized the opportunity, launching a barrage of ice shards. She's going to get hit because of me. But Lola twisted at the last second, deflecting the attack with a gesture that looked almost casual. Her power was terrifying. Each of her spells could have leveled buildings. Yet she kept glancing back at him with worry. Coward! Fight us properly, traitor. I am fighting you. Lola replied sweetly, before unleashing a wave of crimson energy that forced all three extremists to retreat. I'm just being considerate of this beautiful place. I don't want it to be deformed because of vermins like you. Kazric and the others performed another coordinated spell attack. This time, they split their assault, two targeting Lola while the third sent a lightning bolt straight at Noah. Lola noticed the attack meant for Noah a split second too late. Her eyes widened in horror as electricity arced toward him. I'm dead. This is it. Hello, 300% pain multiplier. Crimson light exploded around Noah as Lola appeared directly between him and the lightning. The bolt struck her barrier with enough force to crater the ground beneath her feet. Stay. Behind. Me. But as the fight continued, Noah noticed something troubling in Lola's expression. Each time she had to save him, each time he failed to dodge or defend himself, her frown deepened. Another spell came his way, a simple wind blade that any competent fighter should have been able to avoid. Noah stumbled backward, tripped over his own feet, and landed hard on his ass. Lola sighed as she casually deflected the attack. What kind of human are you? The lead extremist paused his assault, genuine confusion replacing his rage. You have no magic, no combat skills. You're just ordinary. Thanks for the confidence boost, bastard. Lola's ruby eyes found Noah's face, and he saw the exact moment realization struck her. He really is weak. Completely, utterly weak. Is he really the man in the prophecy? The succubus who'd spent hours waiting outside his shop, probing for hidden power, trying to uncover his mysterious abilities. She was finally seeing the truth. Noah Carter wasn't a secret badass. He wasn't a hidden master or prophetic hero. He was just a guy with a magical shop who got very, very lucky with his business model. Well, this is awkward. Realizing that the human next to her was truly ordinary, Lola released a long, exasperated sigh. All this time, I thought he was powerful. Turns out he's just normal. Her crimson eyes shifted from disappointment to coldness as she raised her arm skyward. The playful succubus vanished entirely, replaced by something far more dangerous. Mana began converging on her palm like iron filings drawn to a magnet. The air itself grew heavy as power condensed into a swirling sphere of crimson energy. Within seconds, a basketball-sized orb of concentrated destruction hovered above her delicate fingers. Time to end this. The extremists' triumphant sneers faltered as they felt the sheer magnitude of power gathering above them. Even Noah, with his limited magical sensitivity, could taste the power in the air. That thing is scary. Wait. Kazric stammered, his earlier bravado crumbling like wet paper. You wouldn't dare. Lola's smile was pure silk wrapped around a blade. Watch me. She lowered her hand with casual elegance, as if directing an orchestra rather than unleashing a devastating attack. The crimson sphere launched forward at impossible speed, its passage warping the air with raw magical pressure. Halfway to its targets, the orb split. 3 perfectly controlled projectiles, each one tracking its designated extremist with surgical precision. Shields up, the second extremist screamed. All 3 demons threw their hands forward, pouring every ounce of their considerable power into defensive barriers. Protective walls of magic sprouted around them, layered with reinforcement spells and desperate prayers. This might actually... The crimson projectiles struck their barriers like meteors hitting tissue paper. Kazric's scream peaked somewhere between agony and disbelief as Lola's magic tore through his defenses like they were made of cardboard. Crimson energy engulfed him, and when the light faded, he stood frozen like a statue. Completely charred from head to toe, smoke rising from his singed robes. Chapter 57, Reward. The second extremist's wail of despair echoed across the hillside as he examined his newly blackened features. His perfectly groomed beard had been reduced to crispy stubble, and his eyebrows had simply ceased to exist. Pfft, he looks like burnt toast. The third extremist tried to speak, but only managed a weak wheeze. His vocal cords had apparently been temporarily paralyzed by the shock, leaving him opening and closing his mouth like a confused fish. One by one, they toppled over like dominoes, their charred bodies hitting the grass with satisfying thuds. Well, that was quick. Lola dusted off her hands with the satisfaction of someone who just finished a mildly irritating chore. The terrifying aura of power dissipated as quickly as it had appeared. She turned toward Noah, her usual playful smile returning as if she hadn't just single-handedly defeated 3 adept-level mages. Don't be afraid, she said cheerfully, already moving toward the unconscious extremists. They aren't dead. Just, well done. Just well done. She's talking about people like they're steaks. I'll hand them over to the demon authorities. Lola continued, producing rope from what appeared to be thin air. That's probably from a storage ring. I really need to try and level up my mana control skill. Should get some decent beast cores in return plus other benefits. Crime does pay when you're the one stopping it. She began tying up the unconscious bodies of the extremists, humming a tune that sounded suspiciously cheerful for someone handling unconscious bodies. She's done this before. Definitely done this before. The bounty on extremist leaders is quite generous, she explained, looping rope around Kazric's ankles. Adept-level captures earn premium rewards. Noah watched in fascination as she arranged all 3 bodies like bundled firewood, their charred faces peaceful in unconsciousness. They look like they stuck their heads in a fireplace. With her prisoners secured, Lola straightened and turned toward him, her ruby eyes sparkling with satisfaction. Shall we go? She tilted her head, indicating the path back towards Sin City. I believe you promised to let me into your shop if I gave you a proper tour. Her smile was radiant, completely at odds with the scene of magical devastation surrounding them. From seductive succubus to a terrifying battle mage to cheerful bounty hunter, this woman has more layers than an onion. The towering gates of Sin City appeared before them. Noah had expected many things upon their return. What he hadn't expected was for Lola to casually dump 3 charred bodies at the feet of the gate guards like she was delivering groceries. Thud, thud, thud. The guards' expressions shifted. They had seen her moving those bodies towards the gate, but now that the bodies were up close, They understood why. 3 extremists, Lola announced with the same tone she might use to order tea. They are adept mages. The guards exchanged glances before one of them nodded. Yes, Lady Lola. I'll inform Captain Mordak immediately. The messenger guard sprinted into the city with impressive speed. Within a minute or two, he returned with a demon whose presence made Noah wary. He's strong. Captain Mordak was built like a fortress. He had broad shoulders, bulging arms, and a high chest. Yet when he spotted Lola, his expression immediately softened into something approaching reverence. Even the city guard captain treats her like a superior. Lady Lola. Mordak bowed slightly, a gesture that seemed genuine rather than obligatory. Thank you for your contribution to our city's safety. His polite smile and the way he spoke showed Noah that he was someone who dealt with Lola's contributions before. From a leather pouch at his belt, he took out a storage ring. The standard bounty for 3 adept-level extremists, plus the additional bonus for the condition of dead or alive, he explained, extending the ring toward her. The city council appreciates your restraint. Restraint? She turned them into human charcoal. But well, I guess she restrained herself considering that they might have turned to ashes. Lola accepted the ring with a smile. My pleasure, Captain. It's always a joy to catch this filth. As she slipped the ring onto her finger, Noah noticed the effect her presence had on the surrounding demons. Guards, merchants, and passers-by had begun to gather, drawn like moths to flame. They're all staring. Every male demon within a 50-foot radius had stopped whatever they were doing to watch Lola's every movement. Some tried to be subtle about it, pretending to examine their weapons or study the architecture. Others simply gaped openly, their expressions ranging from admiration to outright love-struck. Lola, one of the 4 most beautiful demonesses in Sin City. The whisper drifted through the crowd and into Noah's ears. The 4 most beautiful? There's a ranking system? And there are 3 that have the same level of beauty? Just what kind of kingdom is this? 1 is already enough to topple kingdoms, and they have 4. Even Captain Mordak seemed affected, his demeanor wavering as Lola's smile intensified. She tucked a strand of midnight hair behind her ear, and Noah swore he heard several demons gulp audibly. Shall we proceed to your shop? Lola turned toward Noah, apparently oblivious to the small crowd she'd accumulated. I believe I've earned my tea. Lead the way, Noah replied, suddenly very aware of the dozens of envious glares now focused on him. Great. Now every demon in the city thinks I'm dating their fantasy woman. Let's hope that this doesn't come back to bite me in the back. As they walked through the gates, he could hear the whispered conversations behind them. Who's the human? Lucky bastard. How did he manage to catch Lady Lola's attention? Lola's soft laughter suggested she could hear the whispers, too. Something amusing? Noah asked. No, she chuckled softly, her ruby eyes sparkling with secrets he couldn't begin to guess. That laugh means trouble. Arriving at his shop, Noah addressed the system mentally. System, remove Lola from the banned list. Acknowledged. Lola may now enter the shop. The invisible barrier that stopped Lola disappeared. Lola stepped across the threshold with obvious satisfaction, her tail swishing behind her. Chapter 58. Ambitions. She protected me today, showed me around the city. The least I can do is return the favor. Noah's gaze swept over his golden inventory, the fruits of a wildly successful morning. His assets had swollen to numbers that still made his head spin. One free drink wouldn't bankrupt him or hurt his wallet. Do you want a loaf? He asked without turning around. Yes, please. Noah retrieved both items from their shelves. He placed both on the counter. Here you go. Enjoy. Lola reached for her coin pouch, but Noah's gesture stopped her. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Her eyebrow arched in surprise. Free? How generous of you. Is she teasing me again? The succubus lifted the bottle to her lips. The first sip triggered the same response it had the first time she had tried it. Her eyes fluttered closed, and a soft sound escaped her throat. Mama. There she goes again. Noah's cheeks burned as the moan filled his small shop. Even when she wasn't trying to seduce him, everything she did sounded like an invitation to sin. You know, I wanted to ask you a question. Noah raised an eyebrow at the sudden change in mood. What is it? Her ruby eyes opened before landing on him. I don't sense any mana inside you, and you're quite weak physically, she said, setting the bottle down carefully. How were you able to remove me from the store? Is this shop a legendary magical artifact? That's a good question. Is the shop that the system has given me a magical artifact? Is the system itself a magical artifact? And if it is there something more powerful than the system, and who could possibly make it? To be honest, these questions had been on Noah's mind for a few days, and he never managed to find an answer. Whenever he asked the system ignored him completely. After a small moment of thinking, he replied, "Not really." Although he didn't have an answer to her question, that didn't mean he wasn't going to pull some bullshit out of his pants to give as a response. I just promised myself to never use my power outside this shop. That low-key sounded like something an edgelord would say. Lola's eyebrow remained raised, but she didn't press further. Her ruby eyes remained on him for a moment before they diverted back to the drink. She knows I'm lying, but she's letting it slide. For now. The succubus took another sip of her tea, this time without any moaning. Interesting, she murmured. After watching Lola finish her meal with excruciating slowness, Noah finally reached his limit. I'm closing the shop for the day. The words cut through her leisurely pace. Lola's ruby eyes widened with genuine surprise, the bottle pausing halfway to her lips. Already? But I was hoping we could spend more time. You know, maybe we could blacklist. The single word dropped between them like a wall. Lola's protest died in her throat, her expression shifting from playful to cautious in an instant. You wouldn't dare, she whispered, but uncertainty flickered in her voice. Noah's smile carried no warmth. Try me. The succubus deflated like a punctured balloon. Her shoulders sagged as she realized he held all the cards in this particular game. With visible reluctance, she rose from her seat, her movements lacking their usual energy. Fine, she muttered, moving toward the door with obvious reluctance. But as she reached the threshold, she turned back with a pout that transformed her entire face. Her expression was no longer that of seduction, but that of the innocent beauty next door one. Her lower lip jutted out slightly, her ruby eyes wide with disappointment. Damn it. Why does she have to look so? The door closed with a soft click, cutting off his dangerous train of thought. Noah released a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. The shop felt larger somehow, less charged with the tension that seemed to follow Lola wherever she went. He stared at the door for several long seconds, half expecting her to materialize through it like smoke. She's gone. Finally. But the relief was temporary. As silence settled over his small domain, other thoughts began to surface. I need to get stronger. Today's encounter with the extremists had stripped away any illusions about his capabilities. Immortality within his shop meant nothing if he was helpless the moment he stepped outside. I don't want to be looked down upon anymore. I had to be protected by a succubus. How shameful. His system had mentioned talent-enhancing items, products that could accelerate his growth beyond normal limits. But those remained locked behind shop upgrades he couldn't yet afford. For now, he had only one option. He had to exercise, practice, and get better the hard way. Noah moved to his shelf and retrieved the last remaining bottle of iced tea. The peach-colored liquid swirled as he settled onto the floor, his legs crossed in the meditation position Alara had taught him. Bottoms up. He popped the lid open and gulped down the whole drink at once. The tea flooded his system with its familiar, cold, soothing, and remarkable taste. His mana reserves and regeneration expanded. The sensation was intoxicating, power flowing through channels he could sense but not control. Although I still can't use mana, who knows? It might help me level up quicker. He closed his eyes and began the breathing exercises, mimicking Alara's patient instructions. Feel the mana and make it feel you. Don't try to grasp for it. Let it flow naturally through your consciousness. Minutes stretched into an hour. Sweat beaded on his forehead despite his idle position. Mental exhaustion crept through his skull like fog, but he persisted. Each breath brought him closer to something, a connection just beyond his reach. There we go, come on. Almost. For a heartbeat, he touched it. He felt like mana was finally waiting for him to harvest it. But before he was able to, it slipped away, leaving only frustration and the ache of overexerting himself in training for the past hour or so. Noah opened his eyes, disappointment settling in his chest. Damn it, level 5 is much harder to get to. It's harder than the earlier levels combined. His storage ring remained an inert piece of jewelry. His mana as inaccessible as ever. Enough for today. He stood up, his muscles protesting against the extended meditation. It's time to settle the debt. Chapter 59. Settling Debts. In his modest apartment, Noah pulled up his status screen. Host: Noah Carter. Age 28. Shops 1. Daily revenue $3,000. Current assets $140,220.64. Shop points 1560. Attributes: Strength 4, Vitality 4, Intelligence 7, Agility 3. Skills: Swordsmanship Level 4, Mana Control Level 4, Cooking Level 2, Programming Level 2, Finance Level 1, Surviving on Ramen Level 3, Gaming Level 1. $140,000. My debts are approximately $20,000, which would leave me with $120,000. The number still felt surreal, like looking at someone else's bank account. But as the reality settled in, a new problem appeared in his mind. One he didn't think of. Shit, how am I meant to explain where all this money is coming from? His stomach dropped as the probability of being accused of fraud crashed over him. He'd been so focused on earning the money that he'd completely ignored the logistics of actually using it without triggering every financial crime algorithm in existence. I didn't worry about it initially since I barely used anything, but now that I'm going to start spending, I have no explanations. Panic crept up his throat like rising bile. Images flashed through his mind. IRS investigations, money laundering accusations, federal agents asking very uncomfortable questions about his suddenly flush bank account. System, he thought desperately. Please tell me you have a solution. The monetary transfers have been processed through multiple legitimate financial institutions and investment vehicles. All funds appear as returns from diversified portfolio management. Tax obligations have been automatically handled. You need not concern yourself with regulatory scrutiny. The relief was so intense that it made his knees weak. Good, he breathed, collapsing onto his couch. Very good. I thought I would need to call Saul to save me. Checking the time on his phone, Noah realized he could still make it to the bank before closing. But this time he wasn't walking anywhere. Not with $20,000 at stake. But first I need to order a safe taxi. I can't risk being robbed again. The ride passed in comfortable anonymity, the driver more interested in his podcast than his passenger's potentially lucrative destination. Noah used the time to craft his approach, remembering all too clearly how the previous withdrawal had nearly ended with him being robbed in an alley. The bank's familiar fluorescent lighting greeted him as he joined the queue. And there she was, the same enthusiastic teller whose voice had broadcast his financial status to every opportunistic criminal within earshot. Round 2. Let's see if we can avoid the attempted mugging this time. Before she could launch into her cheerful customer service routine, Noah slid a folded piece of paper across the marble counter. The young woman unfolded the note with curiosity that quickly morphed into mortification. You almost got me robbed last time because you spoke too loudly. Could you please process the withdrawal of $20,000 without any noise? Thank you. Jessica's face cycled through multiple shades of red as she read. Her eyes widened with horror, then narrowed with what looked suspiciously like self-recrimination. I'm so sorry, she whispered, her voice barely audible above the bank's ambient noise. I had no idea. I never thought. Noah waved off her apology with what he hoped was magnanimous understanding. At least she learned. But instead of processing the withdrawal, Jessica stood abruptly and stepped away from her terminal. She whispered something urgent to her colleague, an older woman with silver hair and the bearing of someone who'd seen every possible banking catastrophe. "Oh, this doesn't look like a normal routine." Jessica returned with an apologetic smile that somehow made Noah more nervous than her previous volume issues. "Could you please follow me?" she asked, gesturing toward a corridor lined with glass doors. "She is leading me towards a private consultation. This is either very good or very bad." The office she led him to had a mahogany desk, leather chairs, and enough diplomas on the wall to stock a small university. A middle-aged man in an expensive suit rose as they entered, his smile professional but warm. "Mr. Carter, I'm David Richardson, branch manager." His handshake was firm without being aggressive. "Please have a seat." Richardson. That name sounds familiar. Wasn't that Uncle Smith's feng shui-obsessed director? Jessica explained the situation. Richardson continued, settling behind his desk with a smile on his face. "Large cash withdrawals require additional security protocols, particularly given your previous experience that we deeply apologize for." Previous experience. That's one way to describe almost getting mugged. "We need to confirm a few things." Richardson's tone remained friendly but carried underlying seriousness. "First, this withdrawal is entirely voluntary. No one is threatening or coercing you. They think I'm being extorted. That's actually pretty reasonable." "Completely voluntary," Noah assured him. "Just settling some old debts." Richardson nodded. "You're comfortable carrying this amount in cash?" "Am I? $20,000 is a lot of money to walk around with." "I have secure transportation arranged," Noah said, thinking of the driver currently listening to true crime podcasts in the parking lot. "Very good." Richardson smiled genuinely for the first time. "Jessica will process everything in our secure counting room. For your safety, we'll provide discreet packaging and escort you to your vehicle. They're actually trying to keep me from getting robbed." "Thank you," Noah nodded. 20 minutes later, Noah emerged from the bank with a black leather briefcase that felt heavier than it should. A security guard, built like a linebacker with a friendly demeanor, walked beside him until he reached the waiting Uber. Professional, discreet, and no one announced my financial status to the entire lobby. As the car pulled away from the bank, Noah let out a satisfied sigh. The briefcase sat innocuously beside him, containing enough cash to solve every debt problem that had plagued him for years. He didn't worry about the driver robbing him either, because he didn't drop off at the bank, but slightly before. Time to have some very satisfying conversations with some very unpleasant people. Chapter 60. Settling Debts. 2. The car's engine hummed to a stop outside Noah's apartment building. Home sweet home, where the rent is cheap and the security deposits are just concepts in fantasy. Noah clutched the briefcase with the reverence of someone handling liquid salvation. $20,000 in cash. Enough to rewrite his entire relationship with financial stress. "Thanks for the ride," he told the driver. A middle-aged man whose playlist had cycled through 3 different true crime podcasts during their journey. The driver nodded with the indifference of someone who'd seen everything the city had to offer. "Stay safe out there." Inside his apartment, Noah spread the bills across his table. $8,000 went into his bedroom safe. A small metal box he'd bought years ago and never had enough money to justify using. The remaining $12,000 found its way into a smaller, more portable case. $12,000 for Rex and his merry band of leg breakers. Should be enough to settle every penny, with interest, and hopefully buy me a lifetime of being left alone. The thought of Rex's face when presented with full payment in cash brought a smile to Noah's lips. The kind of smile that probably would have worried his enemies if they could see it. His phone buzzed with another Uber notification. Time for the second leg of his debt settlement tour. Noah provided the address with the confidence of someone who definitely wasn't carrying enough cash to buy a decent car. As they approached their destination, the urban landscape shifted from questionable to actively concerning. Buildings seemed to lean inward like broken teeth, their windows dark or boarded up entirely. Groups of young men clustered on street corners, their conversations dying as the Uber passed. This looks like the kind of place where people come to make bad decisions or have bad decisions made for them. The driver's eyes found Noah's in the rearview mirror, concern creeping into his voice. "You sure about this address, son?" Noah glanced out the window at a particularly intimidating group of hooligans who'd stopped their smoking session to stare directly at their vehicle. One of them, a mountain of a man with tattoos covering his neck, took a step toward the street. "They look like they're deciding whether we're worth the effort of robbing." "I'm sure," Noah replied, injecting more confidence into his voice than he actually felt. "Just a quick business meeting." The driver's skepticism was palpable, but he pulled to a stop outside a building that looked like it had given up on renovation sometime in the previous century. "Want me to wait?" the driver asked, his tone suggesting he really hoped the answer was no. Noah considered it. Having an escape route ready seemed prudent, but keeping an innocent civilian in this neighborhood longer than necessary felt like tempting fate with a sledgehammer. "I'll be fine," he said, stepping out with the briefcase. "Thanks for the ride." The old man nodded, his expression mixing respect and concern in equal measure. "You take care of yourself out there. And kid," he paused as Noah closed the door. "Whatever business you got here, make it quick." The Uber pulled away with unseemly haste, leaving Noah alone on a street that felt like the opening scene of a very unfortunate movie. Well, here goes nothing. The briefcase felt heavier now, its weight less about money and more about the very real possibility that he was about to make either the smartest or stupidest decision of his life. The hooligans continued their surveillance, smoke drifting around them like incense at an altar of bad intentions. Time to find out if $12,000 can buy me peace of mind. Noah straightened his shoulders and walked toward the building, each step carrying him deeper into a conversation that would either end his debt problems forever or create entirely new ones. The briefcase swung at his side, containing enough money to change everything, or get him killed. Only one way to find out which. Noah had taken exactly 7 steps toward the building when a voice sounded from nearby. "Yo, hold up. Here we go. I was really hoping they mind their damn business, but I guess that was wishful thinking." One of the hooligans detached himself from his smoking circle, approaching with the confidence of someone who owned these particular blocks of broken concrete. He was younger than Noah had expected, maybe early 20s. "The kid looks like he's been through the grinder. Probably makes him more dangerous, not less. You lost or something?" The hooligan's tone wasn't hostile, merely curious, like a zookeeper asking why a zebra had wandered into the lion exhibit. Noah adjusted his grip on the briefcase, keeping his voice steady. "I'm here to see Rex." The young man's posture shifted from casual intimidation to something resembling respect. His eyes flicked to the briefcase with new understanding. "Rex's name carries weight here. That's either very good or very bad for me." "Rex, huh?" The hooligan nodded slowly, stepping aside with a gesture that was part invitation, part warning. "3rd floor. Door's got his name on it. Can't miss it. Can't miss it, right? Because loan sharks are known for their subtle signage." "Thanks," Noah replied, walking past the informal checkpoint. Behind him, he heard the young man return to his group, their conversation resuming in hushed tones. "Great. Now I'm the entertainment." The building's interior matched its exterior's commitment to urban decay. Fluorescent lights flickered with epileptic enthusiasm. The stairwell smelled like a combination of cigarettes, desperation, and decisions people regretted making. 3rd floor. Here we go. Each step upward felt like climbing toward either salvation or catastrophe. The briefcase's weight remained constant, but its significance seemed to grow with every floor. $12,000. More money than Rex probably sees in legitimate transactions most months. The 3rd floor hallway stretched before him like a gauntlet of peeling wallpaper and questionable life choices. And there, at the far end, stood a door that needed no introduction.